What is going on, everybody? It is episode 314 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Once again, feeling kind of zen and like more alive today. Positive. How about you, Brett?
Well, I was until we found out that we were on like backup internet. So the hope is, guys, fingers crossed.
I'm not really letting it bother me because you know what? If the stream skips, it skips.
Yeah.
We can't do anything about it.
Yeah, we're just gonna go through it.
We're just doing our best, and Tom Cruise is at our side, giving us moral support.
How do you feel about this, Tom? He says it's good.
Only you can hear him.
Yeah, only I can hear him. He's actually like he's jacked into just these headphones, so only I can hear his responses. But
just like I can only hear Mr. Fluffykins in the background.
Yes, yeah.
You can only hear Tom Cruise.
I will convey his messages as needed throughout the show.
You.
Yes. We've got guest hosts with us today.
Yes. Firstly, we've got Chris Bertman in the studio.
Hi, I'm Chris Bertman. I am Chris Burt Meme. Excuse me.
Burt
commander
Meme.
of the Timcast Meme Army.
I didn't even know that this existed.
Yes, well, it's funny because our other co-host is the one who gave me the title.
Yeah, but I was kicked out because I'm not fit for duty. I'm Wesley. I work here.
You do.
I do, yeah.
That was very concise.
Yeah.
That was very concise. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I've had the giggles all day, guys, so like, bear with me.
We need you to lay off the laughing gas, my friend.
Well.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. So Disney, you know, I don't use the term woke loosely because that word gets thrown around very liberally these days, but they released the Peter Pan and Wendy trailer, and it is woke, and we will talk about it. I think Tyrone Magnus had my favorite response to all of this. He just laughed through the whole thing. So we'll talk about this trailer. We'll talk about what it all means, how they could have fixed it. Maybe we can talk about how they could have fixed it. We're going to talk about Angelina Jolie and how she supposedly, allegedly almost hired a hitman to take her out because she didn't want to commit suicide. This is an article from Evie. We're going to talk about that. That story is bonkers. We're going to talk about how The Last of Us is racist. It just proves that there's an article from a very esteemed journalist, I am sure. And what it proves, ladies and gentlemen, is that no matter how much you pander, no amount of pandering is ever enough. And also, Patrick Warburton from Family Guy says he's no longer going to apologize for the character he plays on Family Guy because he says we're just too damn sensitive in this country. He says we need more satire. And I agree with him. Do you agree with him? Are we too sensitive here in America, Mary?
I never watched Family Guy, so I don't even know if it is all that offensive.
Well, he's in a wheelchair. The character's in a wheelchair.
Is that it?
Yeah.
It had an episode back in the early 2000s canceled because of how offensive it was.
Well, why? What was it about?
The Weinstein episode?
Oh, the Weinstein. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
What, you want to explain that one?
So, well, it was about a Jewish lawyer, I think.
Okay.
I think he needed a Jewish lawyer or a Jewish accountant.
Okay.
And so the whole thing, it was when you wish upon a star, but it was when you wish upon a Weinstein. Because he needed financial help or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, they canceled the episode.
I think that even jokes like that have lost their charm because, like, this reminds me of the sequel to Borat. Like, everyone loved the first Borat,
Nobody
and then the
likes the
second
sequel.
one,
Yeah.
it's just, you can palpably tell that Sacha Baron Cohen is just a mad liberal, and you can't be funny when you're mad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but I mean that episode of
he
Family Guy
like
was
makes fun
older.
of anti-Semitic tropes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can tell that he like genuinely is angry about them in his in his daily life. It's
never
his real opinions.
It's never funny when you can tell that they're bitter or angry.
Yeah, you mad.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. Are you guys ready to get right into it? Mary, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Chris,
Let's go.
Wesley.
Undecided.
All right. Well, luckily, three against one.
Yeah.
You're overruled here, guys. Before we get started, I meant to talk about this one yesterday, but I didn't. Did you see the tweet in which Andrew Tate claims that he punched a ghost in prison?
Oh yeah, I did see this. I just
Piss
assumed
off,
that
ghost.
he was like getting harassed by demons.
Yeah, like he claims in the tweet he alleged that he identified a ghost and sent him back to hell.
He's so cool.
Those Romanian ghosts are probably worse than like your average ghost too.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you think of this, Wesley?
I mean, Send him back where where they belong. I mean,
And who
Think it was
better?
I would
real?
punch a ghost.
Or do you think he's losing his mind?
I mean, to be honest, I've thought he's been losing his mind for a long time. So this is just more evidence to support my,
Claims.
My claims, yes, my theory. I'm not a fan of the Andrew trait, personally.
Oh, you're not?
No.
You're not? Oh, we're free Cobra over here.
Fine. I don't dislike him very much, but I'm not a supporter. I'm not like, oh, like, yeah, man, you're kind of a chat, like not a chat, a toad.
I get a kick out of him. I get a kick out of like the kind of contradictions in his different rants, like how some of them are very serious and some of them are very not. Also, it kind of scary. Like if you want to think about somebody who had like the reach that he had, the social media reach that he had. Now this could be algorithmically based, but before he went to jail, if you were on Instagram, you would see nothing but Andrew Tate. Like obviously based on your algorithm, whatever. Like there was just so many either TikToks that have been reposted or reels about him, and then within like 2 weeks of him being in jail, like nothing. Like there was
Well,
like
I
was
thought
seeing
that him going to jail actually was a huge boost for his name recognition.
at first, but then it all kind of seemed to go away. Like
if you
I
go
didn't see any
away,
of it.
then you go away from the internet.
But all the stuff that they posted before had nothing to do with new content. They always just post the same however many clips to that same song that you hear over and over again.
Oh yeah, what is that like Sigma Male grind set
Yeah.
song that they set to like every clip that is like kind of related to talking about gender roles?
Yeah, it's that same. I'm not even gonna dare do an impression.
It's like
of
a
it,
very low bass line.
and it's like
I know it
yeah.
has lyrics, but
Yeah.
it's in Russian.
Yeah, so that plays the whole time. But like, I'm just wondering who's
It's fitting
taking
for
care
that Eastern European prison vibe.
who's taking care of the Bugattis like right
Yeah.
now. Like I need to know. Like, does he have a car guy? I imagine he has a car guy. So, if he has punched a ghost, he didn't need to call Ghostbusters. That's good because I don't know if the Ghostbusters would go to Romania. They might need a business license
Is he
out there.
out yet, or is he still?
No, he's still in. He's still locked up.
detained?
Like he's still locked up. But like, I imagine that being a Ghostbuster, you'd need some type of like work visa to go to Romania. So he couldn't do that. So he had to punch the ghost himself. That makes perfect sense to me. So all right, we got that. Also, I was a
ghost.
I know, right? Like just took one. Well, he was a kick. I mean, he was like an MMA.
I know, but like you have superpowers. Like, come on.
Fair enough. All that ectoplasm.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, meth alligator is a real thing.
Oh.
Attack of the Meth Gator
the
coming
sequel?
this summer.
It's supposed.
How'd they do it so soon though?
It was probably already in production. Like,
but-
whether it's real or not, I love the idea that it gets spoken into existence by this the asylum.
The announcement seems fake.
Yes. But like it's like some people are saying like maybe it will actually just get like turned real by the advertising like stuff like this because you can only you can't buy this type of like weird promotion for something like that.
This is by the same production company as Sharknado.
Yes, let's go.
Maybe, in the industry, if you're aware that a movie like Cocaine Bear is getting made, then you kind of want to steal their thunder.
Yeah.
You start, adapting
Well,
your own because you
that's
can't
all-
really trademark or like copyright
Before
animals being
Sharknado,
on
that's
drugs.
all they did. Like Asylum
Yeah.
was just this.
Yeah.
Like just this.
They called that genre mockbusters.
Mockbusters.
I love
yeah.
it. It's like mockumentary.
Transmorphers.
I love it. I love it. Also, my favorite one that I've heard so far is PCP. It's like PC platypus. So it's a politically correct platypus on PCP.
I like that.
Platypi
I like that,
freak
yeah.
me out. Like, why do you sweat milk?
They sweat milk.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Why
that.
doesn't everybody else? The real
They
question.
sweat milk and they've got like a duck bill, but they also are mammals. It's just all messed up.
I didn't
and then they
know
lay eggs.
Platypi
too.
was the plural.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that. Also, this is just a quick update, guys. Apparently, there is going to be a season 2 of The Night Manager. I don't know if anybody here watched The Night Manager.
I did
It's
not.
based on a book. It was starring Tom Hiddleston and Hugh Laurie, in which Tom Hiddleston is basically a spy who's working at like a hotel in Cairo, and he's basically sent undercover to infiltrate like a drug cartel ring run by Hugh Laurie's character. And I mean, this series came out in 2016, 7 episodes long, kind of boring, but like at the time this type of television was like less common, so it was pretty good. I have to admit I don't even remember how it ended, but I just remember it was great to see Hugh Laurie do like a serious role after House, and then he did that, and then he did Chance, which was where he played like a psychologist. So just weird because this is like a lot of years. Like this is almost a decade later. 2016 was like 7 years ago, right? That's like a long time ago. So it would be cool to see Tom Hiddleston is kind of more of a star now than he was then, right? Like,
I mean, 2016 he was kind of hitting a big stride. He had Kong Skull Island that year. He had High Rise that year.
Yeah, Kong Skull Island was 2017, right? Like it came out in 2017, but it was in production at that period, and he was coming off of Loki or like
and then
playing Loki.
Right
earlier.
after that was Thor Ragnarok. So it was like the build up to his peak. But yeah, I mean, he's
peak
bigger
now. Would he have been a good James Bond? A lot of people thought that him in this role meant he should have played James Bond.
I mean, he would have been a good James Bond.
He kind of does fit the role. Like he might have to bulk up a little bit, but he did in
High Rise.
And
High
so
Rise.
just a thought, and we have a unique cringe of the day. It's not a video, guys, but oh boy! All right, so
really bad.
This California man sets a record by visiting Disneyland 2,995 days in a row.
Does visiting count as just like he drive through the parking lot?
Well, if you read the article, he basically like would walk in, maybe grab some food, not necessarily go on a ride.
Yeah,
maybe
but I mean,
goes on a
I'm
ride.
just wondering, how do you even have the time in every day and the money?
Because it's
Trust
California,
He
we
said
don't
that
work.
he started this when he was unemployed.
Yeah.
That's the most Californian thing you can do.
Yeah.
Is he just doing this with all of the COVID relief fund?
Probably.
Well, this is
I
like
hate
8
this
year in the
country.
making. This is like 8 years in the making. This is a lot.
2012?
Like, 2012.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
like,
COVID's the thing that stopped it.
he's like celebrating Obama
What
getting a
is
second
going on?
term. He's
And
like,
then-
let's go.
I know
Earlier,
plenty-
I wondered if he's spending his kid's inheritance on this, and you're like, oh, he doesn't have kids.
Oh, I guarantee that he doesn't have kids. Exactly. I was gonna say, I guarantee that guy doesn't have kids.
Yeah.
No. Well, actually, like there's a comedian that I follow who made an Instagram. Like I found this from like a comedian talking about it, and he's like, this guy. He's like, you know for a fact that this dude has to register every time he moves to another location. I was like, oh, that's kind of brutal, dude. Like just because like give the guy a break. I mean, it's easy enough to make fun of without that accusation.
Oh,
like
man.
it's easy enough to make fun of this guy. Like my question is like, does he have like a favorite like impersonator? Like does he have a favorite Cinderella actress on like when he goes through the castle? Like it's like, oh, Wendy's playing Cinderella today. I'm not a huge fan of Wendy as Cinderella. I like it when Ashley plays Cinderella, and he waits to get his photos with Ashley as Cinderella. Think so? Like I bet
He's probably become familiar with all of the employees.
they actually hire him to draw the maps for like the place.
I have plenty of childless millennial friends that are on par with this guy.
like
Seriously?
Disney
yes,
Disney
yes.
adult is a thing.
How do you not
dude.
get bored of it, though?
That's what I
'Cause
said.
It's like the same thing every time you go. It's the same
Yeah.
rides, it's the same food, it's the same
And
characters.
it's expensive.
And it's the same people because they're all going for 2,000 days.
The prices keep on going up. This guy knows better than anyone that the prices have been going up steadily
I
year
like
by
the
year.
idea that he becomes like
this is all
halfway
a study
through.
on inflation.
Yeah.
When is this guy going to turn on Disney and
Like, I
become
like-
the villain?
I like the idea that halfway through he just gets really jaded and he's like, I used to get
Right.
this for like $5.95. Now it's $25 to
You
buy
either
this.
die at Disney or you go to Disney long enough to
become the
see
villain.
yourself become the villain.
Hey, that's the like actually, you know what it is? He's probably got like a picture of DeSantis like on a dartboard that he throws. He's like, I hate you, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
Leave. Like maybe he. You know what he should have done? He should have run for governor. Oh, I guess is this California or is this Florida? I don't know if this is California. Okay,
California.
I think if it was Florida, he
Yeah.
could have run. He could have. He wanted. Maybe he wanted to be mayor of Reedy Creek. That was like he was like there campaigning every day.
You know, honestly, if he's California, he should love Ron DeSantis because if I had Ron DeSantis as governor, I could have gone the whole time.
Yeah.
I never would have been stopped.
As a former Californian, yes, I agree.
Except for the Disney World part.
No, I didn't go because I'm not creepy. I don't have kids.
You've never
except
been
for that
to
part.
Disney?
I've been, not as an adult. Well, that's a lot. But I didn't consistently go as an adult because,
yeah.
I don't
That's
have
like,
kids.
I feel like Disney is just, shifting their target demographic to millennials.
We need to grow up, guys. Millennials need to grow up.
We're working on. Oh no, we're not working on it. We're actually not. We're doing the opposite of working on it.
I mean,
in our society.
we're coming up on that point where all the millennials are going to start turning 40 something.
Slow down. Slow down.
I'm almost
I mean, it's not going to be pretty.
Yep.
I saw
Look,
that
man.
like Twitter thread about that filter that makes you look like a teenager again on TikTok.
That is creepy.
The reactions were worrying.
Yeah, that is creepy.
Oh boy.
All right, so you know what? He should. Know what he should do now? He should move to Florida and go there for 2,995 days.
Go for it, yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, he's probably got an email job, right? Like,
Which one is supposed to be better?
I don't know.
Florida or California?
Florida, I think.
Yeah?
There's way.
Oh, you're talking about the Disneyland or the state?
Yeah.
Disney.
Disneyland.
And California or
well,
Florida?
California was the original.
Okay.
Yeah, but Florida is considered the one that's like the one.
Florida's
I
the
could be
one
wrong.
that has more space
Yeah.
and like everything. People who've gone to both. I've gone to both. The California one feels like an abridged version of
Okay.
that.
Have you
the
been to
original is
Disney
much
Springs
larger,
in Orlando?
yeah. Oh,
Okay. That's the only Disney affiliated place I've been, and it's basically just a shopping center, but they have some like cafes and stuff that look Disney-esque. But I just remember it was like in 2021. It was in like well into 2021, and some employee like went up to me and my friends and was like, "Excuse me, you need to wear your mask outside. You don't have to just wear it inside. It must be outside as well. We're trying to make this a safe place for families."
Isn't it crazy?
You ever heard of outside? It's outside.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I know.
I know that everybody knows this, but I still can't deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm having
And I was like,
PTSD
oh,
right now.
okay. Put the mask on, turn around, take it off.
I mean, a lot of people, like, I remember, like, when I was, like during COVID, when I would get, like, stopped for skating, like, the cops would, like, not want to come close enough because I'm not wearing a mask. I'm like, I'm outside, dude. I'm not wearing a mask. Like, you're already kicking me out of skating. I'm not supposed to be skating here. And, like, you can kick me out, but you can't yell at me for not wearing a mask. Or what you do, if they're about to come up to you, go,
They
hold on,
can't-
dude. Yeah, like,
they
yeah.
can't
it's
break
a
your
cosmic
spirit.
ventilation system.
Yeah. So, you know, like, he should move over from Disney Land to Disney World and just go there for 2,995
Oh, just go to Busch
days.
Gardens. It's better than Disney.
Like, or maybe he's got like a friend who's trying to go to Universal for 2,995 days, and like they're setting records at theme parks together. I just don't get it, man.
Imagine canceling plans with your family and your friends because you have to go to Disney.
Yeah, does that mean does Christmas count? Do you have to go on Christmas? Are they open on Christmas?
They must
Oh.
be
They
have
open
to
on
be.
Christmas.
Yeah,
That's not
Absolutely.
nice. Now I don't like Disneyland even more.
They must be.
Like,
Because that's like some people make a whole plan.
like the guy's like that means his mom's like, honey, we really want you to come by for Christmas. He's like, Mom, I'm just trying to set the Guinness Book of World Records here. I'm just
Are you
saying-
having
But
kids
Grandma's
yet?
not going to be around next year.
Yeah, it's like grandma's dying of COVID. Can you please come to the hospital? And he's like, sorry, grandma.
Sorry,
I can't.
I'm at.
Gotta go see Captain Hook.
I'm at Ronto's Roasters.
And speaking of Captain Hook, that's a fantastic segue. Like, let's move right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Walt Disney Company is what we would call in the industry as woke. And I don't like that term, but a perfect example of this has been released yesterday, where they released the trailer for Peter Pan and Wendy. And do you know why it's called Peter Pan and Wendy? Because you can't just name it Peter Pan
Because
anymore.
women.
It has to have
Ant-Man
a
and the
woman
Wasp,
in the
that's why.
name. It has to have a woman in the name. It's going to be coming out on April 28th. They're dumping this crap right onto Disney Plus because there's no way this was getting a studio
It's
release.
crazy
Sorry.
how they can invest years into this and millions of dollars into projects like
Yep.
this and just dump it on Disney Plus where no one is going to watch it.
Yep. And so it's very similar to the Little Mermaid. And so what I want to talk about, guys, is the downvotes. Now, if you have regular YouTube on your computer, obviously they hide the downvote tab. Am I right? But I have the thing that reveals the downvotes here. It is gone. Let's see. When I first looked at this trailer this morning, it had 127,000 downvotes to 20,000 upvotes. It now has 27,000 upvotes to 149,000 downvotes. And this was
Wow.
an hour ago, or this was about 45 minutes ago. Let's see where it is now.
Yeah.
It is now at 160,000 downvotes.
And The Little Mermaid, meanwhile, that teaser, not even the full trailer, has 3.5 million dislikes
Yep.
on YouTube.
And it's
People
gonna keep
aren't
going.
happy with this. And when you use these projects, you show like how cheap you think they are to use them as a vehicle for race swapping and race hustling.
It's Burger King Kids Club / College Brochure, the movie.
Yeah.
I will give them credit by one thing. Like, one of the jokes that I always hear is like, it's like a lot of like SJWs and people in Hollywood, they think that there's only literally two races. They think it's like white people and black people, and that's it. They've at least race swapped to other races as well. I can give them credit for that, while also making fun of the fact that this is just horrible.
I mean, they show how cynical they are when, you know, the obvious race swap from a blonde-haired, blue-eyed character is then a black actress. You can't if it were really colorblind casting, you just by likelihood, just by probability, you might cast somebody who's not black.
Yara Shahidi is her name. She's from Minnesota. She's a Minnesotan. She's apparently the first cousin once removed of Nas.
Have you seen her in anything else?
She's been in literally everything that I've not seen. She's been we're not really the target demographic for grown-ish, black-ish, or any of those shows.
She was in that?
She was in those about 100 episodes each. So she's got
me when I'm only in shows that are about being black or in race-swapped character roles.
She has other stuff. And her younger brother is also an actor who is she was in the Alex Cross movie from 2012, and so is he. He played Damon. Her brother played Damon Cross in that movie. But look,
people are also still commenting on the fact that it looks just drab and desaturated, and the color grading just looks like
boring looking.
It looks so dark that you would have to squint in the theater to see what's going on.
And we can look. The number one way, if you're going to do this to your casting, do you want to know the number one way you can at least get the average, maybe the person who's trying to play the middle of the road like me back on your side? Don't be so obvious when you race swap everyone but the bad guys. Yeah. Everyone but the bad guys, meaning all the people on that ship when they shoot the rocket.
I almost thought there would have been some racism controversy about Captain Hook because he's so swarthy, you know?
No, we know what they should have done.
What race is swarthy?
They would have said, oh, this is promoting racist tropes about Romani people or some random
but
BS
you know what they
that.
should apparently they were going to have Will Smith was in the running to play Captain Hook. That might have there's we had him play the genie.
I can't see him as menacing.
No, but here's the thing.
There's a scene where he slaps Peter Pan.
Yeah.
So they gotta get out of here.
Keep Wendy's name out your
Didn't they race swap Peter Pan as well?
Yes.
Yeah, they race swapped Peter Pan.
Here's the thing.
How?
You know who they should have? You know who they should have casted as Hook? Tony Todd. They should have gotten the can. They should have gotten the Candy Man.
They didn't show enough of Captain Hook in this trailer, though.
I would have been okay with that.
Yeah,
Denzel would be a good Captain Hook.
Denzel would have been a great.
Terrifying.
Would have been a great Captain Hook.
What's funny to me about this is that they're obviously race swapping, and then they make the Lost Boys into the Lost They Thems.
The Lost
to supposedly right their past wrongs as a company because they've been around for so long that of course you're gonna have some faux pas.
Who's playing Tiger Lily?
But
Tiger Lily.
yeah, exactly. I thought immediately I was like, wait, I remember them getting complaints about racist stereotypes of Native Americans because of the character Tiger Lily.
It's Alyssa Wapanatahk. Is her name?
So originally she was portrayed smoking a peace pipe, and all of them would speak gibberish, and she would put her ear to the ground to hear who's coming and stuff like that.
That's the problem.
But people were mad when they put a disclaimer on Gone with the Wind, but not on Peter Pan. Yep. They put a disclaimer for tobacco use on the 1953 animated version.
They love to talk down to cigarettes and stuff
Brett,
like that.
I find the race swapping stuff, especially in fantasy and stuff, it's very hard for me to get upset by it. What offends me about this is how bad it looks.
Yep.
It looks bad. It looks bad. That's I feel this way, I've said this before. Wokeness to me isn't just that you've changed something; it's that you are presenting that instead of substance. Yeah. That you're this is why you should watch this.
They could indoctrinate people so much easier if they put actual effort into
it. I was watching a video of Tyrone Magnus the other day, and he said something kind of insane to me that just I couldn't believe it. He's yes, it's he was talking about things there are things that are woke that are good. The boys.
The boys walks the line.
But he was talking about The Last of Us. He said he wasn't talking about
The Last of Us is horrible. So I don't know.
He likes, but I'm just saying that for his taste that you can make it good and still be woke. Also, I want to talk what you said about how they made Tinkerbell ugly because this actress is gorgeous.
Well, she looks bad in the trailer because they've made her skin look gray.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl. She's a pretty lady.
She's pretty.
She's not an ugly person, but it's they went out of their way to make her look less attractive.
I mean, obviously, somebody you cast as Tinkerbell is supposed to have a cutesy, neotenous face, and she simply doesn't have that.
Yeah.
like people were even commenting about Dove Cameron, but Dove Cameron is busy playing Bubbles for the CW.
Yes.
Who is Dove Cameron?
She was, by the way,
She's a singer, a Disney kid.
No, okay.
Do you know who they should have
Formerly.
made Tinkerbell?
who?
Chris Burtman?
No.
Oh.
What?
Burt meme?
No. What's the
Who?
guy's
You're my
Billy
Tinkerbell.
Porter?
Billy
Billy
Porter.
Porter.
No!
He was already the fairy godmother. He can't play all the fairies.
What if he played
And
Hook?
you know another thing that people were
He's been
bringing
playing
up?
one his whole life.
Yeah. Well, that's not a role. That's just his reality
It's
when
a
he
gender
wakes up
role.
in the morning.
I mean, they could
But like people also brought up there was like a series of Tinkerbell animated movies in the 2000s that I really liked as a kid, and they had a fairy named Iridessa in that who was black, and you could easily just like that's an original character. You could just make something adapted off of that instead of going for the cheap shot of outrage marketing, and you're making black women essentially into your vector of attack.
Yep.
And they didn't ask to be that. you
Well,
know?
actually, I disagree with that. I think in Hollywood they love it now. I think
the
they,
Hollywood ones, yes.
Yes.
Ordinary people, I'm sure, don't want to, watch a movie that has been just like bogged down with so much controversy and online hatred and arguments about it and the social impact of it.
You have to
just
be
want to have
particularly,
fun.
The actors have to be particularly like ambitious to like want to put up with it to take the role.
It's
so that they can,
just so cynical and like it's so shameless what they do.
Yep.
Like they've taken all the spirit of fun and innocence and wholesomeness out of kids' entertainment to talk to adults in the room.
Yep.
And that essentially shows that, like, once again, their target demographic is millennials.
Problem is like it will actually work on some kids. Like there are kids that watch this stuff. Like that's not to be discounted just because it's seemingly being made, with a wink and a nod to like woke adults doesn't mean that there aren't going to be kids that are going to watch this. I will be interested to see if we get to see any videos of like little kids crying saying I didn't think that I could be a fairy
course.
until I saw this video.
Yeah.
Of course, weirdos are, like, gonna start recording their children, getting them to cry in front of the Peter Pan trailer because they're using their children as woke capital.
Yep, and that's what it is. So okay, so how do you fix it?
How do you fix this?
How do you fix it?
Fire everyone.
Is that even possible?
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know.
Bob Iger doesn't want to do that.
No, he doesn't.
He likes this.
I don't. Does he? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is what
'cause this would-
reimagining
he likes
tomorrow is
money.
all
This
about.
would
Yeah,
have
but
been, this was
doesn't make
greenlit.
money.
This
Well,
was
they don't know
greenlit.
that yet.
Money, yeah.
This
They
was
should know.
greenlit.
They've got 10 years of it.
Yeah.
This was greenlit before COVID and got postponed. So this is from the Iger generation.
Wow.
So
Come on, Bob.
this is
You're
not a
better than this.
Chapek creation. This is an Iger creation.
I guess they're both
and,
Bob.
and he loves this stuff.
Yeah, dude, I don't know how you do. I think you go to alternatives.
Different stories.
Yeah. Well, no. Like,
Nobody's
stopped-
complaining about the races of characters in Encanto. They're not. That's not a thing. Like it's people only get mad and it's disingenuous.
They got mad
you
when
make this-
white kids wanted to dress up as those characters.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother
There's a
argument.
whole other thing.
That's
But there is no. I don't think there's a way to fix this because money doesn't speak to them. It's about message. Like,
Yeah.
it has been about message. They will like operate on a loss on these things to do this because reasons. I don't know. They have their money coming in somewhere. But as we've talked about, infantilized adults can't stop buying like Loungefly bags and going to Disney World for 2,000 days in a row. So
2,995 days.
It's almost
in a
at
row.
3,000.
yeah. Okay. Well,
So.
he's got 5 days left. Okay. We'll talk about it when we get there. But no, I like alternatives. Like, also, I just think like controversial on the pop culture show, but we're entertaining ourselves to death to where like we
Yeah.
are. That's why we're infantilized, just because we don't have serious issues to talk about.
Because
We're
people
like,
can't afford to buy homes, so they have to
True.
spend their time watching Disney stuff because they don't have a home to fix up
Right,
at
like-
night.
yeah, like there is a place for escapism, but
Yeah.
it's no longer escapism if you spend 51% or more of your time there.
Yeah.
At least people are calling this out. I was happy to see that on
It's just-
the
but-
comments section
why-
of the
but why?
trailer.
The comments
That's what
were
they
amazing.
want.
They're all like making references to Star Wars and Marvel, especially like
Let's
acting like it's all in one universe. One comment said, "I love the part when Tinkerbell says, if you don't like it, don't watch it.'
Yeah.
So brave of her." Another person said, I love the part when Peter Pan looks at the fairy and says, the dark side is strong with you.
I like the part when Wendy turns to Peter and says, with great power comes great responsibility. Truly gave me chills.
I love that part when Peter says, it's panning time, and then he proceeds to flip the best pancakes Captain Hook has ever seen.
I love the part where Peter Pan shouts to Wendy, get to the chopper.
Wonderful.
So yeah, the whole comment section is like this, but like you said, it was getting dumped on Disney Plus. This was never going anywhere near theaters. It was never going to happen.
A friend of mine posted something, not about this, it was about Ariel, the Little Mermaid, saying like woke is a term people use when they don't have the intellectual depth to understand nuance. And I was like, no, it's literally the opposite.
It's the opposite.
It is the opposite. Like, because people do look at shows like this and they're like, wow, they just can't stand people of color in movies. And
The people with the nuance are the ones
But
who will
that's
give you
why they set up these situations.
Yeah.
They set up, like with race swapping, they're doing it for outrage, like
Right.
to stoke outrage, instead of just fomenting like organic hype around a new project.
Right.
It's a lot easier to make people get angry about each other, and then they'll say the name of the movie enough times on Twitter to make it trend.
The sad part is like I really do believe that all they had to do is like once in a while is just make the bad guys like don't just suspiciously not race swap the bad guys. Like do that once in a while and people will think that you're being more.
Didn't we do a story where like a black actor was like, I never get to play bad guys?
Yes, that
Like,
was Camille Nanjiani says he wants to play bad guys and he's like they won't let him. Because Hollywood
But then
is super
on
racist.
the other side of the issue, John Leguizamo is saying,
All I get is bad guys.
Yeah, all I play is bad guys. Like,
well, then be less of a scumbag.
can we like get one coherent narrative?
Well,
from
his
them,
is because
please?
like he actually his is different because what he's doing is he's not taking into account that he's just done it well in the past, so he's been typecast. It's not
What about John
there's
Wick?
still
He plays a good
something
guy in John
always
Wick.
to complain about.
like kind of a good guy in John Wick. He's still like running
Criminal.
car.
But
Like
they
he's still
all
criminal.
are. There's
Yeah,
no
they're-
good guys in that movie.
But the
don't be in the movie then.
But the point
a-hole.
is like he's been typecast himself, not based on what he looks like, but just his past roles.
He's had
With-
7 movies
okay.
where he played a demonic clown.
Brett, why is The Little Mermaid self-explanatory as a theater release, but this isn't?
I mean, I think of The Little Mermaid as a bigger deal than Peter Pan, but that's just there've probably been more animated movies based around Peter Pan.
There's been
There
more
have been.
marketing for it. I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything about Peter Pan until this.
Yeah,
They're
like,
probably doing this for
plus
a
it's-
Tinkerbell
plus Woman.
like spin-off.
Twinker.
That would be Billy
Billy
Porter.
Porter, yeah.
Mulvaney, Dylan Mulvaney.
yeah.
Wait, we're geniuses.
Dylan Mulvaney could play Peter. Could play Peter Pan.
I actually
and
could
Billy
see that.
Porter and Billy
Play
Porter could play
Peterless,
Hook.
man.
Yes.
I want Billy Porter.
I would watch that.
I'm telling you, if Billy Porter gets to play the fairy godmother, he also gets to play Hook. Both of them.
I'm in.
Yikes.
The fairy-
Unfortunately, I think Billy Porter is like owned by Nickelodeon right now, not Disney.
Fairy
so.
God Hook. Play both of them.
Fairy
In
God
fact,
Hook.
just make it a mixed universe.
This is
and,
such a
and just,
nightmare.
yeah, it's like
Okay. Also, I wanted
be
to say,
Captain
like,
Look, 'cause
I
he'd be
hate
stylish.
the implication that a white character is for white people, because that was never the case. Like, 1989 Ariel and 1953 Tinkerbell, these were white characters that just so happened to be white, and they were loved universally, and it was never even implied or made explicit that like you had to be white in order to identify with her. But now that they're being race swapped, the response, like, praising that decision is saying like, oh, this is finally a character for black girls.
Yeah.
That is just for us. But like real equity, if that's what you really wanted, would be to make a black character that can be universally liked and identified with. But you don't want that. Same with Encanto. When like all these white kids want to dress up as Encanto characters for Halloween, then they're told that they're culturally appropriating.
Or
like,
Moana.
It's never a two-way street.
yeah, Moana.
Or Moana, yeah.
that was
like,
a big one.
Or Coco, that was another one.
The I saw this great cosplay the other day of the lady crawling out of from the ring out of the TV. She like literally crawls out of a TV at a Comic-Con.
Ooh.
A bit of a side step. It's never a two-way street, and the problem with that is that it has to be left unspoken because only people that are willing to make it a big deal speak about it, and then kids are left to wonder why they're not allowed to do something like this. So the rules are going to be different. Like there are people who dressed up like there's a podcast that I listen to, like a wrestling podcast that I listen to, where he talked about how he went as like Run DMC for Halloween in the 80s, and he wore like blackface, and he's like, it wasn't a big deal because you were going as somebody you emulated, right? So like it wasn't even like what he thought of as blackface. He was just going as somebody that he looked up to. And now it's not like the people who go as Princess Jasmine or the people that go as Cinderella that are of a different race wear makeup. You don't need to do that. And maybe that was wrong of that guy to do it in retrospect. I don't think it necessarily was because it was so long ago. But the idea is that they're creating it to divide, right? So you're sectoring people off into their separate realms where they're allowed to like things. And
it's a case of like, I'm not mad about the thing. What I'm mad about is them being like, aren't you so mad about this? I'm like, no, I actually don't care that you have this actress who I'm sure is wonderful playing this role. What bothers me is that you're doing it, you're using this person, and you're using this entire project to piss me off. And that pisses me off. Like the intent behind it, not the thing itself. There are plenty of like examples that we've covered a dozen times of like characters that were originally one inherent characteristic that have changed over time into something else.
I didn't even know that there was a Man on Fire before the Denzel Washington Man on Fire.
Excellent example.
I didn't know that, and I just like the other day I was watching it on Hulu, the Denzel Washington one, and they got rid of it apparently. Like it's off the streaming service now, and I clicked on the old one. I'm like, that doesn't look like Denzel Washington. Wow, I was like, hitting my TV. Is there something wrong with my television?
The picture's off.
But I mean, the number one thing
Give
there
me
is
Denzel back.
Disney is using unknown actors, and when they when people have done these race swaps in the past, when they worked, it's because it's being done with actors that people actually like.
When did it work though?
When
did it work?
Like with Denzel Washington in Man on Fire, or with
I feel like specifically with content.
not Nick Fury.
Specifically with content that is geared toward young girls, that has never worked.
The race swapping? No. I'd have to
and it's done because it's geared toward young girls specifically. Like that's the intent behind it is re-education.
If
it's actually a miracle that as late as 2013 they made a ginger protagonist Merida.
That was one thing I was going to say. The one time it does bother me is that they do it to every single ginger. Every time.
But they can't possibly do that to Merida, right? Because she's literally Scottish royalty, right?
I mean, they made Anne Boleyn black.
Well,
so yes, they can. They can absolutely do that. If they can do it to a historical figure and tell you to F off, then they can do whatever they want.
There are certain stories where I'm like, even the Anne
Boleyn
one doesn't bother me that much because it's how many different versions of Shakespeare have we seen? How many Sense and Sensibility? Do whatever you want. You know what I mean? Like
Leonardo DiCaprio. And
I mean, it still comes off as stupid when you have like Bridgerton, for example. Like it's just obviously ahistorical, but they're doing it because they know that the people watching it are not historically educated enough to know that this never happened,
or they don't care, and that's the ones that I'm unoffended by. The ones that are like, whatever, like that's fine. But if it's like we're going to piss people off and we're going to use the outrage to market this movie, that bothers me. It's not the like just it's pretend. It's all pretend. Like Shakespeare, it's all pretend. If there's an all black cast of Romeo and Juliet, why would I care? Like do it.
Well,
they already made a better version of that. It's called Romeo Must Die, starring Jet Li and Aaliyah, and everyone should be watching that. That movie's incredible.
But like, it's the same as like people covering jazz standards. Like, why if one was originally by Nina Simone, and like, well, no, Muse cannot cover this. This was, a song originally performed by a black woman.
Yeah, you cannot play "Feeling Good" Muse. You're not allowed.
Yeah, and it's great.
It is.
But saying it's like
I heard the Muse one
should
first.
not be like changing things shouldn't be taboo from.
Yeah, but I think
it's
we're kind of running into our own hubris of trying to like force everyone to get along anyway.
But they're not. They're forcing everyone to not get along, and that's the thing that bothers me. If it was just they're like, hey, yeah, we're making Peter Pan again, and this time she's playing Tinkerbell. We've had 17 Tinkerbell since 2017. Like, I don't.
Well,
care.
I just mean like the project of trying to make humans who look different not recognize that they look different was never going to work, and we're running into it not working.
Right, and I agree with you that there are cases where it's like, come on, like if you were going to do there was talk of Jamie Foxx playing Frank Sinatra a few years ago, and it's like,
Frank Sinatra wasn't even white.
It's like, come on, like, what are you doing? That would some people
He
are like,
gets
well,
to
if
play
he's
Ray and
right.
Not fair.
But like that
weird.
just wouldn't work because it's a true historical. Like it wouldn't.
I mean, but Angelina was a real person too.
True, but my point is like if you were he was going to play him in the Frank Sinatra movie, it wouldn't be like he was playing him live on stage for one weekend. I would be like, that's awesome, let's go see
The
it.
show is literally called Anne Boleyn.
I know that, but there are many
Yeah.
different versions. I'm saying it's like a jazz standard.
Okay.
You know, like if it's people do it all the time, like how many Sense and Sensibilities are there? It's the same with the ambulance, or how many different versions of it are there? I
Can't
find
wait
that
to get
interesting.
like the.
Especially if it's so
Maybe-
detached from us.
I wonder
at
if
this
we'll
point.
start race swapping like sports heroes. Like, will we get black Babe Ruth and white Michael Jordan? Maybe
Well, we'll
could
never get white Michael
I-
Jordan.
Oh, yeah, no.
It would be cool though. No,
It'd
it
be really
probably
weird.
wouldn't
It
be.
would be cringe.
Or they can like maybe
White
when
Brittany
when they
Griner.
make when they make the Eminem movie, they just make him black and it makes everything make sense. Makes everything make sense.
They
All
would,
right.
if they're gonna start doing white versions of black characters, they better all be gingers.
That payback.
Yep.
Payback. All right, man.
Luke
Let's go.
Longley plays Black Michael Jordan.
Let's go to super chats.
Okay, Andrew Jacobs said that he got furloughed yesterday and laid off 2 weeks ago.
Oh my dude.
Oh,
I'm
sorry to hear that.
Sorry
Shout
to
out
hear that.
Andrew
Yeah, we
Jacobs.
saw that before the
Indeed.
show. Yeah. It's unfortunate. You've been giving us updates.
I'm praying for you, buddy.
But you don't feel like you have to
Likewise.
super chat.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Halls and the Kid said, tell Chris his state fruit is stupid.
Come on, man.
What is it?
Avocados.
Oh, it's
Avocados.
avocados?
Yeah.
Andrew Jacobs.
People
That-
forget that that's a
This
fruit.
message paid for by Big
Disney
Avocado
World
for sure.
2,000 days.
Potatoes for Seamus said, Hail Bertman and
Thank you.
Wesley. I mean, me? Oh, he is. You are
Potatoes.
potatoes.
for
Okay.
Seamus, yeah.
Hi, Brett and Mary.
Hello.
Hello. And he also said, Mary, the Tom Cruise Brett saga is still a better love story than Twilight. Change my mind or get tacos with me either way.
I got sent a meme yesterday that said it was the Photoshop of
I
Tom
did.
Cruise hugging
Yeah, I
me,
saw that
and
too.
somebody made like a meme of it that says still a better love story than Twilight.
Touchy Subjects said, blah ha 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 ha.
All right.
What's so funny? Deadfoot said,
I assume me.
Dear, your father is dying. Please come and see him, even for a moment. I'm sorry. Puts on Mickey ears.
Can't do it. Like, or it's like I can see Dad. Dad's dying, but I can only come visit him at like 8 a.m. because I got to get to the park by 9. And like, what did he do during COVID?
Really
Did he just go?
inconsiderate of his dad to not consider his schedule.
These places were closed during COVID for at least a period of time. Did he just like drive around the parking lot and leave? That doesn't count. Or does it pick back up
better
after
been wearing his
COVID?
mask.
He probably erased those days. Any days that they were
Those days
closed.
don't exist.
Disco Jensen said, Disney stopped being an entertainment company and started being a propaganda machine over a decade ago.
Longer than that.
Longer than that.
Way
man.
longer than that. All right, let's
I would
hold,
say it always was that.
Fair enough.
let's hold off on the rest and we will come back. All right, guys, this story is kind of bonkers. So it says Angelina Jolie allegedly hired a hitman to kill her because she didn't want to commit suicide.
This story is actually kind of sad if you
It's very
think about
sad.
it. I mean, if you believe what it was that she said. But it's funny also because like it's just funny to think about a hitman being like an ethical hitman.
Yeah, like well, let's
Like
go
he
through it.
tried to convince her out of it.
He's like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to.
This goes against my principles
Yeah.
as a hitman.
So it says she's been voted time and time again as one of the most beautiful women in the world. Angelina Jolie has also been known as a beloved femme fatale and a femme fatale Hollywood figure. She's acted
This is
in
all besides the
blockbusters.
point.
Yeah.
Basically, she attempted suicide when she was 19.
And
Then she wanted to, not directly attempt suicide. She wanted someone else to kill her so that her family wouldn't feel guilty about it.
which makes me wonder, like, what about finding out who did it? Like, are they supposed to just wonder forever?
Well,
like, who-
obviously, that would make them even more distressed because they would think, what if I'm next? Or
yeah.
what was their motive?
Well, clearly she was
They would have
thinking
no
clearly,
rest about it. Yeah. So she said, with suicide comes all the guilt of people around you thinking they could have done something. With somebody being murdered, nobody takes some kind of guilty responsibility.
Well-
That's completely untrue.
And unhinged.
Yeah. I mean, they would still feel guilty and think that they could have done something to stop it, obviously.
Yeah. When people like do suicide by cop, those cops feel extremely guilty, even though they understand that that's something that happens in that world.
And then she says that this hitman wanted to convince her to think about it some more, but he seemed like he was still open to doing it. He said,
Paycheck's paycheck.
Yeah, she said he was a decent enough person and asked if I could think about it and call him again in 2 months. Something changed in my life, and I figured I would stick it out.
She should, it's like, he saved my life.
What if this guy, I mean,
okay.
most likely, I don't think Angelina Jolie would know the proper avenues to find a genuine hitman. So I'm pretty sure that this guy would just have been a Fed.
Yeah.
He probably was a Fed that was just like looking to arrest and like sting up people who were trying to get hitman.
I don't know, man.
But then he's like,
member of CFR.
Can we make a TV show out of
wait,
this?
what?
She's a member
This
of the
actually sounds
CFR,
interesting.
What does that mean?
Council on Foreign Relations.
What does that mean, though?
It's a council on foreign relations.
What does she do in it? That's
I
what I'm
don't
asking.
know, but it just
Relate.
means you're connected
Does
to
she do
people.
anything?
Relate to foreign councils?
It's ambassador.
Because I remember her going to Ukraine, and I was like, well, what
Yeah.
is she doing there other than taking pictures?
It's ambassadorship, but she's. It just means that you said she probably doesn't know.
Well, if you're an ambassador, you're nothing.
No,
You're
but
just
you
a
have
celebrity.
connections to people. Like lots of Harry Reid is a member of the CFR, and what's the guy from New York? The Pelosi and this guy, always the New York guy.
Oh, Steiny. No, the Jewish guy.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
The point is that they're bad people.
Okay. When you said CFRs, I just thought Capuchin Franciscan Renewal.
Yeah.
What if she was setting up Brad? Sets up Brad Pitt to take the fall.
It's like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's plausible.
Like, does anyone believe that a Hollywood celebrity would really be like above doing such a thing?
No.
She's clearly
She hates Brad Pitt.
Yep. So I mean, you know, she's already not well because she's hiring a hitman to take herself out. She's not what you'd call sane, or at least going through what would be considered somewhat of a mental break.
Why did they get divorced? Was there any reason? They said
I'm guessing it's filed as irreconcilable differences, as it usually is in these things, but I have no idea.
they never claimed that it was like anything specific.
But just think about, like, you know, you're leaving your kids behind to wonder who did this to you. It's not
has
just about the
6
suicide.
kids.
And you're leaving your kids behind to wonder what the hell happened.
It's fair to say she wasn't thinking rationally.
Yeah.
The criticism of, wow, you really didn't think out this self-hit thing
Yeah.
is enough, right? Like, wow, you really didn't think this through.
I do like the idea of her, like, setting up a
Depression
porn
is a-
network and going on the dark net to, like...
Well, I'm absolutely certain this
I like the
had
idea
to
of
have
her
been a
just-
Fed.
She's, like, on
them.
Silk Road.
She was definitely messaging with a Fed
Oh, absolutely.
doubt.
Absolutely. I mean, she's like...
who felt bad for her.
Yep. And it was like, are you sure you want to do that?
No, I want to live in a world where hitmen have
Ethical
like,
principles.
Yes, where they're like,
They still
no.
have some lines
Yeah.
they won't cross.
I mean, they do in John Wick. Have ethical principles.
I couldn't get
Yeah.
through John Wick 2.
What?
I love John Wick 1. The second one was just like, just felt boring in
Well,
comparison.
then don't watch the third one because
Really?
The third one's literally nothing but action.
Yeah. Well, it's
Almost start to finish.
Yeah. It's just very
and gets very complicated
Yeah.
and weirdly convoluted
Yeah,
throughout it. So, you know, I feel bad for her, but I just
do
have
too.
to wonder what would happen to the kids if they have to wonder what happened to their mom.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, I do find it weird though that she has like taken up this activist route, where she's like showing up in Ukraine, taking pictures for clout, not really doing anything to help them. Just, you know, being Angelina Jolie in another country.
She's just being
Very
a
helpful.
Who else would
celebrity.
she be?
I'm
though?
sure that's going to stop the war.
She's like,
She'd be Salt over there.
And then also,
would be.
like, similarly to Madonna, right? Adopting all of these non-white children seems like sort of an awful tactic to seem like you're more virtuous than you are.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't buy that any of these celebrities are virtuous, given that they will all lie and use the media to get ahead. At the very least, it shows premeditation with most of their actions.
Another thing I saw this morning was someone tweeted about their daughter. What's their daughter's name? Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have a daughter who presented as a boy growing up, basically, and went by a different name.
John.
Weared like suits and all of that, had short hair. Now she's a bit older. She dresses all like feminine, you know, has longer hair, wears makeup, etc. Like looks totally like normal teenage girl. And this was given out as an example of like why you shouldn't allow people to medically intervene and like start their children on like puberty blockers and transitioning stuff when they're young. You need to just let them figure it out for themselves, like what their identity is. And I don't, like, while I agree with that principle, I don't think that their kid is an example of it. I think that they influenced their daughter specifically to present androgynously because they're celebrity weirdos. And then, you know, by just luck, she got out of the situation where she would have been like permanently, irreversibly medically transitioned over it. Like, they didn't medically intervene, that's a good thing. But I think that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, probably Angelina Jolie in particular, are the reason she presented as a boy growing up anyway.
It's the same as a certain Hall of Fame basketball player right now as well. Probably the exact same situation.
Yeah, it's gone more to an extreme.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
And his actress wife.
Huh?
And
his actress wife.
It always seems like the mom is like the Munchausen's by proxy one
but
in that
it's
dynamic.
just as bad with this person as well.
Yeah.
Why are you not naming them?
Oh, Dwayne Wade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he Voldemort here? Is he just not supposed to be named?
Yeah.
I don't want that smoke, man. I don't want that Dwayne Wade
You don't,
smoke.
yeah.
Like, I just feel bad for someone whose parents never affirmed enough that they have a gender in like so that they can feel comfortable presenting as that gender. That's what I think it was. I don't think that going by the name John and wearing suits and having short hair as a 10-year-old is normal tomboy behavior. That's not a tomboy. No. That's like much deeper confusion about your identity than that.
Wasn't she in Hackers? She should have known how to find a.
She was with Johnny Lee Miller.
She should have known how to find a hitman on the internet. She was in Hackers. Doesn't she know these things?
Yeah.
Like,
it's a great movie.
And she played an assassin in Wanted, in Salt,
and Salt,
and a bunch of other things. Like
she played basically an assassin in Eternals.
And she
Warrior
was
Princess,
she was the Tomb Raider. She should have been able to figure all this stuff out. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But it does kind of call into question. Sometimes I do like to point out that it's not always good to like. It's very easy to pass judgments on celebrities and say their lives are easy, but they struggle with their own stuff. They just struggle with different stuff than the average person. And I think a lot of it has to do with not knowing who you can trust, not knowing the type of people to have around you because everyone's there and wants something from you. And those are just harder things for us as regular folk to kind of have access to and when we're trying to show some amount of empathy for them, right? So,
I mean, are they even deserving of us?
It would be on a case-by-case
showing
basis for
them
me.
empathy?
Like, I'm not going to
'Cause
blanket say nobody
it's always
is because
weaponized
they're-
against us when we do.
Yeah.
And they also use mental health awareness as a vehicle to just talk about themselves.
They love to talk about themselves.
Yeah. So really, like, I don't know if we should entertain.
Well,
things
like I said,
that.
case by case basis. Like depending on the person, I'm willing to at least hear out whether they're deserving of that. But I just understand that the struggles that they're going to go through are going to be so foreign to me. But I'm not going to dismiss them out of pocket just because I don't understand them. 6 kids. She has a prior, Minecraft attempt. She's got clearly a lot of things that have gone wrong in her life. She was married to Billy Bob Thornton.
And Johnny Lee Miller.
Yeah. Like, so she's been married like 3 or 4 times.
Her relationship with Billy Bob Thornton was just like grotesque.
It was long.
It was the
it was
first
the 90s.
Megan Kelly.
And now they're-
Megan Fox Machine Gun
Megan
Kelly.
Fox and Machine Gun Kelly.
I do that every time.
Like,
Megan Kelly every time. Sorry, Megan Kelly, if you're watching.
Yep.
how? Also, that makes me wonder, like, why would Megan Fox think that she's the first one to do that?
I know, right? Like, very clearly, like you're not. You're not
edgy.
Yeah, you're not
for
treading
like
new
having
territory.
a vial of your
She's like-
boyfriend's blood
Yeah, every
on a necklace.
friend or every person I went to high school with who shopped exclusively at Hot Topic did the same.
Right.
only to lose him to a kind of thought
Congratulations,
guitarist.
you're the type of person that I went to high school
Wait,
with that has
what?
dragon
No, she hasn't,
statues
right?
in your house.
The stuff about her like
You're talking about, yeah.
It's
being
true.
cheated on.
Megan Fox?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean if Megan Fox can be like cheated on in this world, then
It's the thumbs, man. I don't know.
like nothing makes sense.
So, or maybe he's like can't like look at blood anymore. Now he's all turned off by it because she wants to be around the blood all the time. Maybe. I don't know.
It's like, I mean, obviously, like Megan Fox knows that if she dates a guy, then it will give him a huge ego, and then he'll think that he's like all that.
Yeah.
He'll think he's the shit, and that
I don't
he
think
can
it
like
took that
get
from
with
Machine Gun Kelly
anybody.
to think that.
Women
He was there a long time ago.
also always beware of women who date down continuously. Very it's
Is
power
she-
play.
You think she's definitely like dating down? I mean, if you're Megan Fox,
She
how
was
do you
married to,
avoid
what?
dating down?
She was married to Brian Austin Green
Yeah.
before, so I mean, yeah.
He was way older than her.
Yeah, if
though.
you're Megan Fox, you're kind of always probably dating down unless you marry like a software mogul who's just like a billionaire and happens to
Or
also
like, what's his name? What's
Pete
the
Davidson.
No, the the soccer player Ronaldo.
Oh
It's like
yeah. Well, he's never getting married. He won't even marry his wife or his girlfriend if it's like
he
7
won't
years
even marry
now.
his wife. What is coming?
Well,
He'll
yeah.
break Sharia law
Yeah.
rather than marry
Well,
his girlfriend.
Sharia law will bend for him.
Yes,
basically.
only him.
Yeah, just for him. All
Is he a
right.
Muslim?
No,
Oh.
he's playing in.
He's breaking cohabitation laws in Saudi Arabia.
Well, he's making a lot of money.
So yeah,
them.
they're looking past it for money reasons.
All right, let's go to super chats. We got
That's
a couple
the
there.
best reason.
Alex making beds and writing novel on the side said, "Things I like about Wesley, it's empty."
Oh, what?
What does that mean?
Wesley, say something clever back at him.
No, it's from Cascas.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? Holy crap! Yeah. How did that go last night? I haven't watched the full thing yet. I've only seen
That was
most of it.
hilarious.
It was. I'm so glad that episode is over. You have no idea.
It was a lot of work.
It was a lot of
It was
work.
a lot of work.
No more of those for a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't seen much reception to it yet. I'm a couple of like I saw a comment on it from Bertman, so he liked it. So that's one so far. Potatoes for Seamus also very kindly messaged me and said he loved it. So thank you, Potatoes for Seamus. So
There you
we'll
go.
see as the days come how people feel about it.
Porco Rosso Forever said Brett sympathizes with the Disney guy because he's also a Guinness World Record holder.
I am.
Which
You
one?
are?
I have no idea. Apparently I am. I have no idea.
The most times saying, "Wow, I didn't know that."
Yes. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
James Orenthal Wen said, "Can I appeal to PCC Nation to help crowdsource my dream movie, Shaft, starring Tom Hanks?"
Oh my gosh. Can we do that? Okay, if they were to make Shaft now, if we were in an alternate universe and they were going to race swap Shaft, who would they get?
Tom Hiddleston.
Miles Teller.
Miles Teller?
Miles Teller.
would be,
Austin
yeah.
Butler.
Oh yeah.
Austin Butler. Okay.
He's got the hair for it.
Yeah.
Meaning that he's got hair and Shaft doesn't have hair.
Ed Skrein. He was Agent 47.
Like ooh,
Shaft.
yeah, but like I'm trying to think of who would
Timothy
be.
Oliphant. He plays a very
So getting
good-
a little, I guess it is kind of an older character.
He's an old character,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we could do that. I don't like the idea of him without. He's got hair too, though. He's got
He's
like
got gray hair.
He's got great hair.
Yeah,
he's got
great hair.
He's got like Matt Bomer hair.
Yeah, he's got
Like-
like CGI character hair.
Yeah,
It's too
I
perfect.
like it.
Potatoes for Seamus said, "Wesley, good job with the pork fried rice." LOL.
That I did see that
It
part.
looked absolutely disgusing in person.
It did. It looked like that old yellow and colored foam that would be used in shipping. You know what I'm talking about?
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like the yellow foam, like old shipping foam. It's like a blanket, and you wrap it up, or it'd be under carpet. It's just
I don't know.
It was gross.
Multi-purpose use foam.
Yeah.
It's
Or it
over
looked like
9,000 said, "Hitmen only kill people who don't want to die."
Oh, I didn't know that.
What are the ethics?
Wow, I didn't
of-
know that.
Yeah.
There we go.
let's hold off on the
Life
rest. We'll come
imitates art.
back. All right, guys, we're gonna come back to it. So now that we've done a thoroughly depressing discussion about Angelina Jolie, let's have another thoroughly depressing discussion about The Last of Us. Did you know that The Last of Us is racist? It says so right in this article from Slash Film. This very, very brave, this very stunning and brave journalist essentially boils it down to the fact that because they kill off black characters, it's racist. Thoughts?
I
Meanwhile, we're like begging them to kill off the white characters, aka Ellie.
I mean this sincerely, every single word of it. Shut up.
Oh,
Yeah.
also Kathleen.
Just shut up.
Yeah,
Kill
I
off
was-
Kathleen
I was
as soon as
telling
possible.
Brett, this is
Yeah.
the most 2015
Yeah.
article.
It's just free.
Yeah.
By the
I've
way,
read.
where did the plot about Kathleen go? I mean,
I
they
don't even
just
know who you're talking about
outran her.
anymore.
Yeah.
I fell off. after
Kathleen
episode 4.
was the chick that ran the compound or the.
But it's just like, why even introduce her if you're
She's
gonna
not in the
kill her
game.
off
It doesn't make
literally?
sense. They've literally had
immediately,
every
like,
single episode. They introduce a character that's not in the game, kill them off. Means
Right.
nothing.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
okay, then we've progressed one day exactly.
How is this how
However,
is this the creators and writer of Chernobyl?
Yeah.
yeah.
How? That's a masterpiece.
I will say though, as a video game fan, as a fan of The Last of Us, I am very appreciative of at least aesthetically what they are doing. Like they are doing the game. The story, like they got to knock it off with what they're doing.
So the big
The
complaints
story
here are
is
Sam.
what really matters.
I know.
More honestly, but yeah, like the set design is good. Whatever.
Yeah, like they're knocking it out of the park with that.
So they're talking mainly about Sam, Henry, Riley, and Sarah. So Sarah's not even their fault. That's Sarah was race swapped. So
Yeah.
like that's not even the creator's fault. You did that.
Killing all of our race swapped characters.
Yeah, like
Tommy's race swapped, Sarah's race swapped.
Joel's race swapped,
I think. What's her name? The chick
Oh.
Storm Reed's character. She
Pedro
wasn't race
Pascal's
swapped.
white,
Yeah,
so
Yeah. Well, he's white, but he says Pedro.
What?
he's white.
Pedro.
And an American, but
Pedro?
he says Pedro.
That's how you say it, like with a
Yeah.
Spanish
Oh, okay. I thought you said. Never mind.
inflection.
so.
This is just, I don't care about these one-off characters that they introduce.
Yeah, I
But
don't
the
care.
idea here
It's
is
like
that they're
casting
It's so
Dane as,
boring.
Joel and saying it's a race swapped actually.
they use the term black bodies in this too in this article.
Like, it's funny because obviously it's based on source material that you already know who is going to live or die, unless they go out of their way to change the story. You know that Joel is going to die, yet you get no time with him. But like, weirdly enough, in The Walking Dead, it's based on comics where, you know, if you read the comics, you know what's going to happen, you know who is going to live and who is going to die.
the comics actually ended midway through.
Yeah.
The show was still on when the comics ended.
Well, they ended when people no longer cared about the TV show
But-
anymore.
But the
so,
timeline of the comics and the timeline of the show was like they ended up matching
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, they matched up.
Yeah.
But like, people no longer cared about the series by the point that the comics were
So is the
over,
idea
so-
here that like if these characters had survived and you didn't sacrifice them so that they could be like emotional incubators for Ellie and Joel, is the idea that you wouldn't even take the show as seriously if nobody ends up dying? So you first of all you need the characters to die. It reinforces the seriousness of the situation. But like if we race swap them, would they still be mad if they died? No, they would not. They wouldn't care if they died if they were race swapped.
Wait, who is the black and brown characters that have died besides the chick?
Henry, Sam.
Henry and
was it?
Sam, the brothers.
But
The
they
brothers.
literally die in the game.
They don't care about the being
Right.
accurate to the game. They just care that they're black and they're dying.
Okay.
That's the idea. It's frigid.
All right.
Do you know?
I mean-
it's
Yes, I know.
frigid.
Is it racist? Or no. Is it homophobic when Bill and Frank die?
No, because it was beautiful.
No, it was just
It's
annoying because it
magnificent.
meant nothing to the game. It was literally like a 2-second thing in the
Yeah.
game.
It's just fridging, but for
This even says it. It says like, well, that was they were treated with dignity and respect, while characters of color are killed grotesquely. And I was like, I don't know.
They killed themselves. Well,
Yes,
Henry
exactly.
yeah, there you go.
I mean, when I think about them rotting in that room, it is
And somebody
grotesque.
finds them. It's
Yeah.
undignified.
What is
Yeah.
not grotesque about any of this show?
Yeah.
it's supposed to be grotesque.
It's literally dead people.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's people turning into mushrooms. That's grotesque.
Yeah.
What they want is that they race swap Ellie and Joel so that they have the ones that don't die. Then they wouldn't kill Joel off because they wouldn't want to kill off. They wouldn't want to kill off that character. But you know, they did this to all these characters, and I don't know what else they expect to happen. It's characters have to die.
They
in
think
these
that
types
they're
of
doing a
games.
Song of the South thing.
What do you mean?
Like, people got all offended about Song of the South and then the Disney theme park ride that was based on it because there was a black character in it that served, in their mentally ill interpretation, served the white character.
Well,
Like,
that's what they're talking about. They're saying that these characters serve.
it says all these characters have in common is they are treated like emotional roadblocks for Joel and Ellie to confront, like lessons to be imparted to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like-
if you only introduce them for one episode, what else can
What do
they
you
be?
expect? Yeah. And they seem okay with it. Storm Reed seems completely okay with it. She got her episode, and they're changing lives, and they're
You got the
representing
clout
for
off of it,
people,
yeah.
so they get to do that.
Also, by the way, this is like unrelated, but I hate this whole like fanfare around Pedro Pascal. It's like, he's a daddy, he's an unproblematic daddy. Like, I hate it so much.
I can't
He's
wait.
not nearly charismatic enough.
Something's gonna come out from his past, and they're gonna be like, "I never said that."
Right, probably.
They're also saying like he doesn't like doing the Mandalorian voice for kids. But
He's been around long enough where there's got to be
It's just his
something.
voice.
Someone pull up the Pedro Pascal N-word tweets.
yeah,
Whoa!
they,
Do it.
they likely exist
I
somewhere.
thought you were confirming just now that.
I'm
it's
waiting.
kind of like, so are the actors saying anything about this, or is
No,
it just okay?
No, as far as I could tell, the Storm Reed had no problem with what happened. She
Okay.
thought the episode was beautiful, and
She had problem with people who had problems.
I'm saying, but she had no problem with the fact that her character
did.
died.
Yeah.
She had a problem with the fact that people complained about the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did
So
you
she's
think
annoyed
you were
by
gonna
this?
get? Like 2 episodes of a character who'll die?
No, she's not
Instead of
upset
one,
with her
you know?
character dying.
Right, she's upset with this.
She was upset with people being mad at basically the LGBT stuff in the episode.
And yeah, we like in the chat, Average Panda says Pedro Pascal literally compared the people who voted to Trump to Nazis. Yeah, but that's not problematic to Hollywood. We understand
Oh, I hope
that.
we do get to the
I was
fifth
gonna say
story
something, but
because
I-
man,
What?
I said I do hope we do get to the fifth story because that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that goes hand in hand with that. So, like, look, they really what they want to say is that they only want white characters to die. That's what they mean. That only
That's
white
already
characters.
happened. We've
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah.
In fact, all of the characters die.
Yeah.
I would like to focus more on the characters who we know live.
But we're not doing that because Pedro's stuck in a bed. Joel's stuck in a bed, being ineffectual and not succeeding. Like, it's so funny because I love his performance, but it's only in the service of his performance where he just whines and cries because he's good at whining and crying on camera. But it's not like he plays like stoic protector super well. He has to get saved all the time.
I'm really curious what the next episode's going to be, because if it's following the game, it's going to be a very heavy Ellie lead, and I don't see her.
Yeah, it'll be the torture episode.
Yeah.
It'll be torture.
She's
so.
annoying.
And-
Yeah, I don't like her.
What she proved in episode 7 is that she can't carry the show on her own. She needs him to carry the show. And what black and brown bodies will be killed off this episode to serve the purpose
Bodies and spaces.
of Ellie and Joel. Right?
Which comes back to, like, I am actually enjoying Pedro Pascal as Joel, and I'm very curious to see, like, how are you going to go with the second game without Pedro Pascal if she clearly can't lead
there's
the
no
show?
way they can.
You have to keep him alive.
It would be. I mean, it'd be a great way to get a lot of goodwill back because
No,
people
they-
hated that they got rid
They
of
would
him.
they
Yeah.
would kill him, but they will every episode will have a flashback.
Oh,
Come on,
that's
don't
horror-
speak it into existence.
No, that is what will happen.
Man.
100%.
You think that like she's going slowly crazy throughout season 2 and she's like seeing visions of him?
Or you recast her and say she got older than we anticipated.
Can we get a better looking person?
Thoughts? Who should they get?
Genuinely,
Oh, we already know.
though,
Caitlin
like-
Dever.
Oh yeah.
I will literally take Dylan Mulvaney over her.
Is she Seamus Deaver's child? I don't know if they're related.
I don't know.
Who?
Is
Caitlin-
Dever Gever?
Yeah.
Just no A?
No way.
Okay. Maybe.
It's an actress.
She's from Booksmart.
And she's Seamus Deaver's an actor who was on Castle for all 7 seasons or all 8 seasons.
Tim Dever is her father.
Okay,
So no.
not the same one, but that's what they would need to do. They need to cast her rather than as Ellie. Or if
She
they
looks
go
just like Ellie, and
or if
she's a
they
great
go
actress,
old
so.
enough, they could just have the actress that plays her in the game play her, Ashley Johnson.
That worked.
She's like our age.
I know she's like 35. she's like the older than me.
Yeah.
She's like, well,
She's a great actress, though.
She is. So we'll have Ellie in her we'll have Ellie looking for a job, Ellie setting up a LinkedIn and like whatever LinkedIn is in the future. I'm down for this.
Whatever
So,
dating apps are, post-apocalypse.
like what this tells me more than anything is that you're not allowed to like create anything without somebody critiquing you. Like this show is a
yes.
bastion. This show is a
That's fair.
bastion of progressive fandom. It seemed to be one thing that was bringing together progressive fans and video game, the non-progressive
Maybe in
video
episode
game fans.
1.
And now even the people that love it are saying that there's something wrong with it and you can't win. So it's like, why even try? Like, what's the point of trying if you can't win?
It's the same thing with Wednesday.
Yeah.
They said you need to have more people of color on your writers' room because your like non-white characters are all one-dimensional, which was entirely untrue.
Yeah.
Like especially they said, you know, these complaints about black characters being bullies in that show. It was totally unfounded, and by the end of it, the antagonist character who is black is like not even an antagonist anymore.
Well, also
she's
like
a friend of Wednesday's.
Those types of commentary usually say more about the people making the comment than they do about the actual show.
Like, are there just too many people in that, like, writing about too many things where you just are like scrambling for something to complain about?
Kind of, yeah. And they have to fill ad revenue.
Mental gymnastics.
It must be.
All right, we got some super chats there.
It does remind me of my favorite meme where it's like it has every situation you can find the like, is it gentrification or white flight? You know, there's always an angle.
Yep.
With everything.
Yep.
Jacob Edler said, my take is that AJ made the story up for attention. Don't care if it's insensitive, but I don't believe a single thing these people say anymore. She might have.
Angelina Jolie. I mean, that's such a weird thing to make.
You remember
up.
when we covered Brad Pitt like searching for gold underneath
his house,
their estate?
Yeah, like I wonder if you ever found it.
It's like some real estate agent like said that there was supposedly like treasure hidden beneath the foundations of the house, so he just started like.
He's Brad Pitt. He's got money. He's got time. So he just decided
the
to look.
Metal detector
it's COVID. He's like, I think I'm going to look for the gold underneath my house.
It'd be funny if this was like, she's just so because of Hollywood. Somebody's like, wait a second, that's not true. You were played in a movie where you did that. She's like, oh yeah, that was a movie.
she's starting to like lose control of herself, and like reality starting to split for her.
That was a made-for-TV movie.
I forgot about that one. Or it's like it's one that never came out. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like she forgot because it never got released, so she couldn't find it on her own. Like she IMDb's herself every day. And she's like, I don't remember making that. Like she's like, I didn't make that movie. It's not on my IMDb profile. So that way she thinks it's real.
That'd be funny if like she did that with Tomb Raider. She was like, and at one point in the early 2000s, I was fighting rock monsters, and like that was Tomb Raider. And she's like, oh yeah,
I forgot about that one.
That's what that was.
Like I was a hacker for a while. They're like, no, that was literally hackers. Like you were not a hacker for a while. I could curve bullets.
Nate Parrott said, my problem with race swapping is that it's only ever in one direction. White turned black, straight turned gay, male turned female. If it were done evenly, then I'd have no problem with it.
I think that's true for a lot of people, and it's kind of the same way where
except for Billy Porter.
I saw some quote like every time whatever news network you don't like, you know, most people have their one that they like. I think you shouldn't trust any of them, but in general, you know, the people that play the team sport, the people that play the team sport mentality, when you finally see the other side of whatever aisle you're on, say something like semi-reasonable, you're like filled with a weird amount of gratitude that they finally like fessed up for once, right? And they could take advantage of that if they wanted to. So it's like if you distributed your weird race swapping more evenly, then maybe we wouldn't think there was an agenda there, but there's an agenda there. So
ironically, you know what the first thing I ever saw Billy Porter in was?
What?
Playing Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar. Which I thought was funny.
Really?
How long ago was that?
1999.
Oh man.
That's funny. I mean, we could avoid race swaps and gender swaps and sexuality swaps altogether if we just made original content and didn't rely on rebooting things.
Eric July.
Weird, woke reboots all the time. It's all we get anymore.
I want the white version of Moesha.
Alicia.
Oh, Perfect.
He does make a good point about Eric July that they only find legitimacy in traditionally white characters, and that is very creepy.
Yep.
1,000 Foot Deep End said maybe Angelina Jolie wanted to live out Mr. and Mrs. Smith IRL.
That could be it. Oh, also, maybe what they do is they decide like we'll race swap to white, but it's all played by Ezra Miller, boy or girl. Elliot Page and Ezra Miller play all the characters, so you get what you want, but you don't get all of what you want.
Rega Tan said they bullied Hikami, a Japanese VTuber, into quitting for playing Hogwarts Legacy. I will never forgive and I will never associate with you know who.
That's figures. Like that's the internet, right? They're awful. People are generally awful.
I mean, maybe if you're a VTuber, quitting isn't the worst thing for your life trajectory, but
Well, probably not
VTuber
quitting.
Sounds like you have a disease.
Probably not quitting. Probably not quitting the job. Just quitting that game.
Sounds very medical.
Yeah.
VTuber.
quitting playing Hogwarts. I think it says like into quitting for playing it, so she's just not going to do content
Oh,
anymore.
I quit playing it.
That's.
quit
I mean,
playing it?
quit playing the
quit
game,
playing
or
it.
just or
Why?
quit
'Cause my
the
PlayStation
job.
broke.
What if she like
Okay, well,
breaks
unrelated.
and face reveals?
It's a good idea.
Disco Jensen said it's an industry-wide DIEESG driven agenda, ruining everything old and new coming out. These companies have to fail on a massive scale for things to change for the better.
I don't know if it's even possible to fail that massively in a way. Like if the dent has not been taken out yet, like I shudder to think of how much if that movie has 160,000 downvotes to 27,000 upvotes, and it's still getting made, like how much damage you still have to do. Like people are still going to subscribe to Disney Plus. People are still going to like believe it or not, there are people who are not like sociopolitically inclined who are still going to Disney World, who don't know anything about any of this stuff going on because they're like gloriously like naive to like the way things are right now, and that's how Disney stays in business.
Gloriously naive is like the off-brand version of blissfully ignorant.
Yeah.
So there was a small part of me.
Got that from Walmart.
Yeah.
I just subscribed, and I don't know if I'm going to keep the subscription to ESPN
Gloriously
Plus
naive.
because I'm a newfound hockey fan apparently.
You love hockey now.
I love hockey now. I really do. I know.
I bet you watch hockey fights by yourself alone at night. And like,
Dude, it's the best. Nobody told me it was UFC on ice.
it is basically.
Dude. But
Speaking of trademark, that idea.
yeah, right. Exactly. So I subscribed to it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it just because I wanted to check it out. I wanted to be able to watch something without legally streaming.
Yes.
And I was actually debating on getting the stupid Disney Plus bundle just because it was a couple dollars more, and I was like, you know, I might use the Hulu thing and this, but
Hulu, it's worth it for Hulu. I mean, I have Hulu.
Yeah.
I like Hulu.
but
I
I
got
don't
some
want to
good stuff.
support Disney.
And live sports.
That's the thing.
Disney doesn't own all of Hulu, so technically I'm only supporting like 70% of Disney by having Hulu. But they have Angel and they have Buffy, and I need my Angel. And I have recently become a big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan.
That was such a good show.
It was so
Really
good,
good.
dude. It was so-
I have this like middle line where like if something is good, I will still support it.
Yeah.
Like if like I think Andor is so good, so I will say Andor is so good. I know that is unpopular in the circles that we often find ourselves, but it's good.
Well,
if I have
people
to
would
pay-
say if you could pay just for Andor, that
Right.
would be acceptable.
Yeah.
But because you have to pay for the whole platform,
there was a
that
model.
includes all this other
Do
content.
you remember?
I vaguely remember a whole model that allowed you to do this.
Yes, with iTunes, when iTunes first happened, it was like, do you want to watch one episode of The Office for
yeah.
$1.99? Yeah.
Yeah.
Please do. And like, where is that?
Yeah.
And you know why they don't do that? I'll give you one reason: because they'll make one Andor and 10 She-Hulks for the same money.
And they want you to forget that you subscribed.
Yes.
Somebody says I watch Buffy on Comet TV. Holyverse says that I will pay for not having to look at ads, ladies and gentlemen. I am on my own holy war against just 30-second and 60-second ads. So, all right, guys, we're moving on. So Patrick Warburton, hey, I remember Patrick Warburton from what'd you say?
Bader.
Patrick Warburton refuses to apologize for Family Guy. He says that everybody takes themselves too seriously these days. Does everybody take themselves too seriously?
No, not at all.
No, I don't.
Why? No.
Yeah. So the idea here is, he says, I used to apologize for being on Family Guy, and I apologize no more because this world is horrible and is in horrible need of satire, Warburton said. Everybody takes themselves too seriously, and I think in many ways becomes an overwhelming mess. I agree wholeheartedly, and I think, like, do we contribute to that in a way by like talking about the stuff that we do? Do we contribute to this? People taking themselves too seriously?
We bring light to it. I don't know if we would contribute to it.
In a way?
I mean,
Yeah.
you're saying people take themselves too seriously, but I go to Walmart and they're wearing pajama pants.
I know,
So
right?
I don't know where I stand on this. Like, do they take themselves too seriously or not
They
seriously
take comfort
enough?
seriously.
Yeah.
Is it
They,
like
I mean, those aren't the same things. They're how they dress and their personality type on the internet are
people
vastly
are
different
perfectly
things.
willing to grandstand on the internet about their morals, but in real life, they are the bystanders. Who watch a homeless person about to get shot in the head and say nothing and do nothing to stop it, or wear pajamas out in public.
I would have fought
and just are like
bad guys. Almost said the
not self-respecting people. So I don't know if it's like people taking themselves too seriously that's the problem. I think it's people maybe just being too willing to jump on a bandwagon.
I mean, I think it's partially people taking things too seriously. I think that nobody can just take a joke anymore or understand. Like, nobody's willing to just accept that somebody else has a different point of view from them and just move on.
Well, don't we go in like an ebb and flow in our culture of like, maybe the 80s to 90s was a little more puritanical, but there wasn't
Post-Cold War? I don't know about that.
There wasn't
It's not puritanical.
I mean, where we went from like irreverent to something like wokeness for the time, and then back to irreverence again.
Well, there would have been I guess that would have been a certain amount of Christian moralism left in the 80s, right?
Like
at the very least, at the standards and practices departments of Hollywood. Like, one question I asked earlier, I said, like, I would love to see the stuff that actually gets turned down. Like, what does Hollywood actually say no to these days? That would be kind of fascinating.
I don't know,
The
original
ones
content.
They're like, so what character is this based on? They're like, it's not. They're like, get this out of here.
What race is the villain?
Yeah,
I'm out.
That's the very first question they asked. They're like, yeah, we could do that, but you're gonna have to lighten him up a little.
Yeah, it'd literally be like, well, because they always ask, what actor do you have?
Yeah.
I've got Idris Elba. They're like, I'm listening. Okay, so he plays the bad guy. Out.
No, they let him play the bad guy
They
in
did
Hobbs and
once.
Shaw.
Yes, they did, but sort of. But they let him do it in that that was a Tyler Perry movie. I don't know, where he's like a home invader.
He also plays like a gangster in American Gangster who meets an unfaithful.
Fair, but everybody was
unfaithful
bad
end.
in that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
what was it in Family Guy that was so offensive anyway that people are asking for an apology?
The whole first couple seasons.
Yeah.
Which is why they were amazing.
But in general, like people watch this and people want this kind of, like, if you like, I get sent so many clips, like, my algorithm puts me like through a lot of like South Park and a lot of Family Guy clips, and those clips always have hundreds of thousands of views on them. People understand real, and people understand when somebody's not kowtowing, and people want that.
Everything that used to be irreverent has kind of been tamed and like
Not
made fake
not
and
Family
gay.
Guy. Family Guy is still.
Nah, I mean, a lot of Family Guy fans would say like I only like the early stuff, and then it got shitty.
Well, they are really aiming left right now. Like I found.
I wouldn't say it's gone but I for sure I lean towards the earlier stuff is fun.
Like,
I do too. It's
Borat
better comedy,
turned
but
fake
they're
and
not,
gay.
They're not tame. I would
South
say.
Park as well. Like despite
just less
still
original.
They made fun of a greased up deaf guy.
Yeah.
Like
who?
that was a
Family Guy,
character.
you
But it
mean?
doesn't.
Greased up
It's
deaf
not
guy.
like any of this actually matters.
Family
'cause
Guy?
They complain. One of the examples they give in this is they talk about Hank Azaria, apologizing for playing Apu in The Simpsons when everyone loves that character, who is legitimately he's a perfect example of like how wokeness can corrode your brain. Meaning that he's a successful immigrant. He's a productive member of society. The character is
with Cleveland too. Like
yes.
the same thing, yeah.
So the character is a successful immigrant. He's a productive member of society. He's a beloved character, and he can't be around anymore because they said that Hank Azaria can't play him. And Hank Azaria was stupid enough to be like, okay, fine, I won't.
Yeah.
Like because
Rookie move.
and they did the same thing with Cleveland. Like it doesn't matter, man. Stop
A lot
apologizing.
of people in the chat are saying Family Guy sucks now. They can't sit through it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in the last
I
7-8 years.
literally haven't watched it in 10 years, but
Yeah.
like I'm not saying that it's good now. I'm saying that they're not afraid to take shots still. That I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not tame. I didn't say it was still good. Those are
And-
different.
Yeah.
It is good to see more people not apologizing. We had Ben Stiller recently refusing to apologize for Tropic Thunder. I would love to see.
Well, at some point, aging celebrities, their library of work is going to be held against them, and you can't really do anything about the past. The past happened.
It's also funny too because the standards for what is considered acceptable change so frequently now. The stuff you make now is going to be unacceptable in 3 years. So it's like you should start, what you should do if you're an actor, you should start writing your formal apology. If you're going to apologize, just start writing it now and like mail it snail mail so it gets there by the time it goes bad in exactly 3 weeks. Like as soon as it's not acceptable anymore, in like less than a month, you can get your reply in early. That way you don't have to sit there and apologize later. And that's what I hate about a lot of this. Is
The thing I've noticed is that people want them to apologize for offensive things they did, not realizing that they are calling out the very things. It's the Blazing Saddles thing where it's like, oh my gosh, the movie's so horribly. It's like, no, it's a satire.
Yes.
I shouldn't have to apologize for your lack of ability to understand it.
And it comes from people not being part of the time.
Which
Like,
is the same
it's
as
always-
Tropic Thunder. Tropic Thunder is a satire about actors being so self-involved.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my gosh, they're making fun of, like, they're, what is the term? Downplaying
Yeah.
blackface.
They're
It's like,
missing the
also,
point.
that's not what blackface is. Actually, Tropic Thunder arguably is blackface.
Yeah.
But the idea of what you were talking about earlier is somebody emulating somebody who's not blackface. Google up the what it really is.
Yeah.
It is really bad. But that's not what 30 Rock did.
Yeah.
I miss 30 Rock.
I do too.
30 Rock was so great. Like,
Jenna Maroney, then.
good God.
Is that her name? Jenna
Good
Maroney?
God.
Yeah, Jenna Maroney.
Like,
Jen Krakauer.
yeah. Like,
Balls of Steel.
for stuff like this, it just seems like the actors need to just not comment.
Should he have not said what he said?
No, I mean, actually, to be honest, like I would prefer they all just not comment. If the norm became just not commenting, just don't address it.
There's
at
so
all.
much power in whatever.
And even
Yeah.
like saying anything gives them power. Like just by acknowledging it as a reasonable thing to complain about. Another thing about what you were saying about Tropic Thunder and all these things is it's always being critiqued by people from a distance, meaning that they weren't there and they didn't pay attention to it when it was happening. Therefore, they don't have an understanding of what it meant at the time.
Exactly.
So it's always a lot easier to go back to something and complain about it after the fact because you don't understand all that went into getting it made and all the circumstances that existed societally around it when it came out. The world, like the phrase "the world," it was just a different time, is a real thing. Is like a real thing. That's a real explanation as to why something may seem crazy to you now, but didn't seem crazy at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, but we didn't just like naturally get here as a force of nature. You know, it was a different time, and then people decided that things should change, and then they did things
Yeah.
to make it change. Like, it's not really a
It would be
natural evolution that we've gone through.
It would
from
be interesting
2000 to where we are now.
to have a discussion about what is the better course of action. Is the better course of action to say I'm not going to apologize, or is the better course of action to just not address it at all? Theoretically, by not addressing it all, you limit the reach of the discussion at all, meaning that the person can make the complaint all they want, but the second you address it, articles are written, articles like this are written, the message goes far and wide. If you leave it to people complaining online, it eventually gets memory hold.
You're right, but they also don't. Like, I'm sure Patrick Warburton isn't upset that there are pieces being written about him.
Yeah, helps
Well,
him.
so-
But yeah, then you know what I remember him from is he played the bodyguard in Scream 3.
He was the Tick.
Yeah, he was a
I
tick
was gonna
in
say, the Tick is the big
2002.
one.
Yeah, he's a huge dude.
It's a masterpiece. The Tick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the new one. That's
Not the
okay,
new one,
but it's
the
not
old
as good
one.
as the old one.
So like to me, well, like what do you do if somebody says something negative to you? Like, do you address it or do you just leave it alone?
What's the context?
Like
guess?
like for a lot of the stuff, these aren't even articles that are being made. A lot of it is like an article gets made because a bunch of people on social media say it. He's addressing it in the media. The people that are making the comments are making it on social media. So is the better idea to just not address it at all?
It depends in the sense, like, I found that it is different when it's about me or if it's about people I work with, right? If it's about me, I'm just upset. But if it's about people I know, I agree. No, I'm just kidding.
When it's about Chris Bertman, I agree.
Yeah, no. Like I get
you,
upset
buddy.
when people are like, "Hey, the people there aren't, or wherever you are, don't try." Whether it's a Borders bookstore, like I get upset when it's implicating people around me. When it's me, whatever.
Uh,
Say what you want.
And I guess in a lot of these actors, it's not like he's making these comments himself alone. His publicist probably said it's a good idea to address this. Person said, you're looking for roles right now. Maybe you want to address this and get your name back in the news cycle, which just proves that none of it is actually about the values talked about. It's all about what type of media can be, what you can gain from talking about these issues, which is kind of
get the tick returns made.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not a bad idea. So I would like to see, me personally, I would rather they just not address it. But I understand that for most people, that's not really a reasonable outcome.
The tick rises.
Yep. All right. We got, I think there's 1 or 2 super chats there. Is there not, Mary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Corey Anderson said, not all pee-pee times are poo-poo times, but all poo-poo times are pee-pee times.
Well, thank you for telling us that.
Thank you for your insight.
Thank you. I just want to make sure, guys,
That's
is the...
deep.
Okay. Yep. Okay, go ahead.
What?
Oh, no, nothing.
Something wrong?
No, we're good.
Regatan said she quits ending on the 31st of March. No word on future. Well, if she's giving you a date of when she's gonna quit, then that's just her trying to get everyone to donate more, and then convince her to stay.
It's like, have you seen that video of the guy saying it's like people when they say they're leaving social media?
Yeah, if you announced it,
they go on their social.
Really
they go on their "I'm leaving social media" tour, where they're basically Harry and Meghan, and they're like, yeah, so I can't stand it, all of you toxic people out there. You're all so toxic. Like, you're so just toxic, bad people, and I'm leaving because I'm more enlightened than you.
Yeah.
It's a weird way of saying I'll be back in a week.
Well, yeah, if anything.
Yeah. Bobcat said, forget the streaming services, buy DVD, Blu-ray, and rip them to external hard drives. Then maybe even look at cloud storage.
I have multiple hard drives that are full of content so that I don't have to actually put a DVD in. Like, for me, it's more a problem with TV shows that I just don't want to have to put in a new disc every 4 episodes. It's awful.
James Orenthal Wen said, and there appeared an angel and said, give heed, to which Peter Griffin replied, hey pal, I don't sing that way.
Hey pal.
High Voltage 75 said, it's been a quiet show so far, let's change that. Crisis Parte.
Oh, that. I was
Yes!
like, what are you talking about? I've been screaming.
It's
an hour and a half.
and there is going to be a crisis party. Yeah, physical media is the way to go. Like I said, I don't have access to any of my stuff here, but it's like, so I'm kind of stuck with streaming services until I get around to going home and getting everything. But even then, better to just buy and hold on to, because eventually they're going to change everything that you make into something else.
Yeah.
And everything's going to be edited. It's really funny. I was watching, there's little things where they'll change words out of there. I could have swore I was watching an episode.
McClunky.
I was watching an episode of Buffy where they removed she calls somebody fat, and a fat something or other, and they removed the word fat, but it was still in the closed captioning.
Oh my God.
They'll do that, stuff gets removed. It's like this. That's the sneaky stuff. That's the insidious stuff. When they remove stuff without that's just small. And then you're thinking back later, I don't remember that sounding like that. And then you think you're going nuts because you think you remember it a certain way, and then you don't. And it's because Disney or these companies are driving you crazy with their unannounced edits, kind of like how they stealth editing in journalism when they edit articles without telling you. Hate that.
Yeah.
Bert Fegg said, Mary in red again, please. I don't know. I don't want to dress on command for you.
I
want to now,
And
because
for
you told me
Canadian
Should all
dollars,
just wear red.
no less.
Oh, here's a
I'll just wear red.
Canadian
I'll just wear
dollars.
red.
Canadian
Here's another thing.
dollars.
So I have a thing where on a fairly regular basis, I used to post an affirmation of sorts when I got sober. It says, I am sober, I am grateful, I'm blessed, right? And it turned into a weird bad luck thing where every time I would post that now, something bad happens the next day. And I literally posted that yesterday, and then boom, internet trouble the whole freaking episode. And I was going to wear my blue Mariners hat, my other blue Mariners hat yesterday.
Office.
And the other blue Mariners hat I have is a bad luck. It's bad luck. Every episode that we've had either tech issues or something goes wrong, and I didn't wear it yesterday, and then we had those troubles anyways, because, and I think it's because I wore a red shirt yesterday. See, I used to work at Target, so I don't wear red shirts ever. I don't.
So you really took a risk.
I took a risk yesterday.
Yeah.
I wore. Oh, to be fair, when I bought it, it said wine, and wine is supposed to be closer to a purple than they lied. Okay, it's their fault, not mine.
We
And-
opened a huge can of worms here.
And yesterday, the whole episode,
Yeah.
was
The trauma is real.
I know.
It is. It's bad stuff.
It's
man.
layered too.
Yeah.
I had when I used to work at Target. I like if I go to a Target now and I hear like the backup cashier call, I immediately start walking.
There we go.
Yep.
Got me.
So quiet. Oh yeah. We were like testing it earlier, so we turned it down.
This one's new.
Yeah, it's Woody Harrelson from Saturday Night Live.
Oh, it is.
And you know where at the end there, I forgot to point out the scream at the end there. It's the girl from the Trump inauguration going, "No!" That was like the big part of that. I added that at the end there, and I forgot to mention like that was my favorite part of it. I'm like, I had to like cut it out. I had to get rid of the Donald Trump as the 45th president of the United States. I was like, no.
That's a girl screaming?
That's a. I think it's a girl. Like
Was this before transgender people existed? I don't remember.
2016.
Was that when they were invented?
Yeah, that was like they left the factory line that day.
When they immigrated from Transylvania?
Ah. Wait, does that mean that everybody in
existed,
Castlevania
but now they're
lives in
trademarked
a
by
castle?
Disney.
Yes.
So everyone who lives in Castlevania lives in a castle?
We're from Castlevania. We're the game Castlevania.
Yeah.
Dude, Cast Castle idea.
Castlevania.
You're welcome.
8-bit. It's very 8-bit.
Yeah.
It's very 8-bit.
Very doable too.
But so when I hear the backup cashier call at a Target, to this day, if I'm in a Target, I start walking to the front.
I
It's
know
like
what you mean,
it's
yeah.
like a limbic trigger.
Yeah.
Wayward Soul
heard that
said,
term a long time.
"I love that Bat Manuel is also Gotham Mayor on TDK."
On the Dark Knight, is he? Batman, I don't know.
Nestor Carbonell is the mayor
Yeah,
in the Dark Knight Rises.
in Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah.
He did this hilarious episode of
Beautiful eyelashes. You ever notice that?
He did this
They're
hilarious
really,
episode
like,
of Person of Interest, where he's at a high school reunion and Sarah Shahi's character like is like protecting him, and like finally it's like they find out that he was the guy who was trying to kill like a former classmate, and she's like, "You shouldn't do it because it's bad." He goes, "That's all you've got?" She's like, she's like, "I kept killing people. My friends tell me it's wrong." He's great. He's a
great
fantastic
in
actor.
Lost.
He also had a very memorable episode of House where he played like the dad to the Spy Kids. He was Spy Kids' dad. What was
Antonio
the kid?
Banderas.
What is it?
Antonio Banderas. Are you talking about the Spy Kids movie?
I might be thinking something else. No, it's not from like the kid. No, he's the kid from Spy Kids that's in this episode. What's that kid's name?
Junie.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
We just talked about him the
Redhead
other day
kid.
because we were talking. I always remember
Yeah.
Alexa
Something
Panavega.
Paredes.
Yeah, and he's married to
Megan Trainor.
Megan Trainor.
Yeah.
But he in that episode the kid gets like the kid's like in an attic and gets like some
I remember
disease.
that
You remember that?
episode.
And he's
Yeah,
the dad. He's like the domineering dad in that episode.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like Nestor
I'm
Carbonell.
gonna go watch Lost again.
There you go.
Fear Me It's Bree said, "I chose you guys over a nap."
Ah, well,
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
means
Shout
a
out Fear Me
lot.
It's Free.
I mean, you chose wrong. Just kidding.
No. Trauma Llama said, "One man's dystopia is another man's utopia." Sir Timothy Poole
Is that true?
with an E at the
Do
end.
you think that's actually true?
Poole.
That one man's dystopia is another man's utopia.
Yeah, the
So
person
whoever
who's
the
running it, yeah.
the warlord guy
Yeah,
always gets to be in
Yeah.
charge. I guess that's his utopia.
Regatan said, "VTubers have agency. You can't just quit outright."
So like
They all have agencies?
like so.
How are they
work for-
chosen?
That person was like, "Watch me," by not watching me.
Is it about your voice? Is that it? You have the right voice to be a VTuber? I don't really get how the whole thing works.
Let's hold off on the rest. I do want to talk about the Mandalorian stuff real
Cool.
quick. Let's talk about the Mandalorian stuff real quick. So
Excited.
the Mandalorian executive producers, Dave Filoni, is talking about how they're going to handle Cara Dune's storyline. Obviously, we all know what happened with Gina Carano. We all have heard the story.
Never heard of it.
Who? Never heard of
her.
Gina Carano? Well, basically, the idea here is they're saying that she's just going to exist in this. The character of Cara Dune will just exist in this universe. And my guess will be that they recast her later. Would you say that? Do you think they eventually recast her?
Well, they're implying in every way that she's still alive.
Yes, the character will still alive and is just magically not involved in the season. It's like, where did she go?
But their
I have no
answer
idea.
about it is the most non-answer answer ever. They just said Cara was a big part and continues as a character to be a part of the world. It had to be addressed in the creative and was it Jon Favreau took the time to think about that? It was something that was discussed as we knew it was going to have impact on the show, but at the same time, what has been at the heart of the show are the two characters, Din Djarin and Grogu, so ultimately it felt like a servicing of that and around the Mandalorians. And then when they directly asked, is Cara Dune alive? He said, it's a big galaxy and we have many characters in it. Many characters are fighting for their screen time. We'll just have to see as the season unfolds what adventures there are. But it's a great character. Someone who, they're talking like Trump.
I love
Someone
it.
who was vital to Din Djarin's
I was gonna say
beginnings.
Mitt Romney,
We'll see
but
if
Trump
he
is
was
right too,
evolved
yeah.
beyond that. Now season 3 is mainly dealing with the Mandalorians and the Mandalorian
Well,
saga.
It's a big universe. It's a big galaxy.
Yeah.
They say that like
Got
we
lots of
didn't
characters
like we
fighting
didn't
between
watch any Star Wars in which Reva became like a big part of the storyline when it wasn't her show either.
No one even, like, there wasn't even a fake AstroTurf campaign for her to get a spin-off or anything, because she was just that bad in the role.
But the funny thing about this is
This is
they're
like, it's a great character. Cara Dune is the best character. I won't say whether she was alive or not, but
is Gina Carano coming back? Cara Dune is great. Like they want to say anything but her name because they're afraid it will inspire demons to come forward, which it will. To be fair, like the people that attacked her are the worst type of people on the internet.
This Deadline article is the worst, where
Yeah.
it's like, well, she made extremely controversial statements about Jews.
Oh.
She did no such thing.
I love it right here. It
Like,
says,
it makes me so mad that this narrative is
like
still
as if
out there.
she's saying the same things as Yay.
somebody says,
Yes.
The very first comment is great. It says, this is her anti-Semitic comment. Most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? Yeah, I love that that was like the controversial
And
statement.
this called it denigrating to cultures
I mean, I
and religion.
think it's kind of an intellectually lazy statement because your political
It wasn't even a
views aren't
statement
the
of
same
hers. It
thing
was
as
like an
your race,
infographic.
but-
It wasn't even an info. It was like an infographic. It wasn't even her statement.
No, yeah, I know. She was
Like-
she just screenshotted it from
Yeah.
somewhere and posted
and it wasn't even it is a perfectly fair statement to make that, like, hey, you're being told to no longer look at people as people,
Yep.
but as a part of a larger group.
Yeah, I totally get that. I just don't know if it made that much sense. Like it's just like your political views aren't an immutable characteristic.
The point
about
is,
it.
it doesn't
whether
matter.
you
The
get
point is, you don't lose your job over something stupid
pharmaceutical
like this.
now is.
And it wasn't really about this in the end anyway. It became about the beep bop boop Twitter crap and her
Of
having
course.
to do her struggle session where she has to go onto a
And
Zoom.
she retweeted a Joe Rogan thing.
And, yeah, which you know,
mask thing.
it's really funny too because I was just
Which is
watching.
insane.
Like I was looking up David Boreanaz on Instagram yesterday because I was like, does he's like, because he's fairly based, right? And
Is he?
I mean, yes.
I didn't know that.
Well, he's on SEAL Team, and like most of the dudes on SEAL Team, from what I've heard, are all fairly, if not conservative, libertarian, and whatnot. And he doesn't post very much. He's got like 6 posts total, but he had like 2 story posts, and one of them was about like Twitter getting roasted for like censoring doctors. And I'm like, in his field, you know, that's a fairly hard thing to post and expect to get away with. But he's kind of found himself in this weird like middle ground, like maybe just because he's been in the industry so long or something, and he's also a producer, but he just gets to do it and he doesn't seem to affect him. But he's also doing shows that are about the military, and he's probably working with people that are at least, if not like-minded.
CIA confirmed.
Yes, exactly. He works for the government. So to me, like what she said wasn't controversial. You know, we can argue about whether it was accurate or not, but it wasn't controversial.
then
It's just when the mob comes for you, they come for you.
Yeah.
And they
I
came
think
for
it's
her.
sort of like when we were talking about Roseanne Barr and her tweet, where like they'll do anything but actually show what she tweeted. They'll just refer to it so that you assume it's worse than it actually was.
And Pedro Pascal made his comments that were just as that were far worse.
Yeah, and inaccurate.
And inaccurate.
Yeah, like it was a picture falsely attributed to something.
Exactly.
And that's what they accused her of. It's like, well, she posted something factually inaccurate. It's like, so did he.
And
he did
we
the
don't
same
even need to
thing.
get started
But
about
he's
how.
an unproblematic daddy, so.
But we don't,
he can
and we
get
don't
away
even
with it.
need to get started with the Lucasfilm story group and how nuts all of those people were, or Kathleen Kennedy. Like,
Wow.
it's just
Some of these
bad.
people in the comments are really mad at her. One person said, "Dear Gina Carano, maybe you should have prioritized self-preservation over your issues with self-destructive impulse control.
What they mean is-
Disney would have let it go as they have with other actors who have said dumb stuff if you had just agreed to do what they asked you to do."
Bend the knee.
Can you imagine
Bend
saying
the knee.
this?
And what they're saying is like, if you would have just prioritized being a coward.
How does that boot taste?
Yeah. Like, to be fair, like, Evangeline Lilly didn't apologize for her vaccine comments, as far as I know, and they never did anything to her.
Selective enforcement.
Yeah, selective enforcement.
But
So,
also, has a bit more
clout.
Clout, yeah.
Like, Evangeline Lilly was allowed to make her comments.
But they
and
did make her get a lesbian haircut, so
They're like, all right, fine, we'll let you stay in the movie, but you're going to be ugly while you're in it. How about
She'd been
that?
a great Tinkerbell.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's a good idea. Also, like, but
Yeah.
it's also funny too because if you talk to any of the members of the set of the show, they all talk about Gina Carano because she's a sweetheart. Carl Weathers defended her.
Yep.
Of
So
course,
did Pedro Pascal.
only the old actors can defend you because they're old. And, I think did Billy D. Williams defend her? I don't remember if Billy D. Williams defended her. Do you remember the whole hullabaloo about Billy D. Williams saying he had like a sensitive side, so they said he was non-binary?
Yeah.
That was that was at like the height of the insanity. Like Billy D. Williams, who's like 70 years old, has no clue what the hell non-binary is, and he's like, yeah, I got a masculine side and a feminine side. They're like, non-binary, confirmed. They them pronouns. He's like, what?
yeah. I haven't watched Mandalorian, but a lot of these people are saying that she was the worst character on the show and that Cara Dune was like very one-dimensional and boring.
Leave Mama Gina
What do
alone.
you think about
Yeah,
that?
I would agree. Sorry, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real there. I wasn't, when she left, I was like, sucks.
So like you could have acted a certain way that would have like given you a spin-off opportunity.
Well, she was going to
But then it would have
she was
just been
supposed to
the
get one.
same.
Yeah, she was
It would have just been the same, pink sludge that all the other Disney Star Wars content is.
The
So-
first season of Mandalorian, though, is actually really good.
They should have had Cara Dune become an MMA fighter.
I have
Yeah.
like intense fan theories about that show. I was very invested when it first came out. It was before I was.
What were your theories?
I think that they were going to go for this like repeat of the Skywalker twins thing, and they were going to make Cara Dune and the Mandalorian brother and sister. Because they very much hint that he's from Alderaan. They very much hint that, or they straight up say that she's from a royal family on Alderaan. He's from a royal family on Alderaan. His name is Din Djarin, but he is only told that, and there's an implication that maybe his name's actually Jaren Dune.
Okay. Oh, I think I did read that somewhere.
Yes.
So glad I'm not into Star Wars.
Yeah. But for this, like, do you think it bothered her? Like, somebody who's like doesn't want to keep her mouth shut. She's very clearly outspoken. Like, that has to be a certain type of soul sucking to be somebody who wants to be heard and wants to speak out, and then to like look at the paycheck and be like, do I keep my mouth shut? And she just decides no. But that takes
I think
us.
there there's even more to it than that, where she knows that there's this big media machine, but she loves the people she's working with, which
Yeah.
she has said. She's told Ben Shapiro that, like, I loved everybody I worked with. I had no bad experiences until they did that struggle session thing, and she was like, well, this is
Oh my
messed up.
gosh. This other comment is like delusional. Said, "It isn't fair to be a conservative knowing that the bulk of the entertainment industry leads liberal, just as it isn't fair to people who don't adhere to Christianity to live in a country which overwhelmingly favors Christianity, or to gay people living in a country overwhelmingly straight."
Shut up.
To even compare those.
I love how delusional the first part is, as if this country's
Overwhelmingly Christian, like-
religious. Like, give me a freaking break.
Even the people who self-identify on the census as Christian, are they like trying to force it down your throat? I don't think so.
No, well, I mean, and that's, I guess a lot of people would make the argument like that's how it falls out of favor, right? Because it's not being shoved down your throat, and a lot of us are losing. Like, somebody like me loses because I just want to be left alone and I want to leave you alone, but they don't want to do that. They want to shove it down your throat. They want to pile the propaganda on. I actually got annoyed last night when I was watching like the the last of season 3 of Buffy, and I realized how good, like, just how good it is, just how incredible and how actually feminist the show is. Like, I made the mistake once of saying like it wasn't a feminist character, it was just a really good character, but it is a very feminist character, and how they have to keep shoving it down your throats now as if it's stunning and brave and new, and it's not. It's not stunning, it's not brave, it's certainly not new, but they just don't know when to quit, right? And this is your pinnacle. You reached your peak in 1997. You will never reach those heights again, at least in this type of media. And it's infuriating as somebody who does want to just be left alone and to just not have you shove your ideology down my throat, understanding now that that's a losing battle. That my belief system is essentially a losing battle because you can't do that. Like, you're not allowed to just be neutral anymore. And that's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do you think they recast her?
It's a.
And who, okay, how about
It
this?
depends.
Who would
It-
you,
like, it
if you were
depends on-
forced to, who would you cast in her place?
Who would I cast in? That's really tough. Well, you know what? That's impossible to do because there are no attributes to this character. It was like, how do we put Gina Carano in a Star Wars?
Yeah.
So just some no-name chick.
No,
No,
they
you
love
just don't do it.
WWE
Just don't
people
do it.
there. Get
Just
Ronda
don't
Rousey. It'd be awful.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey's a horrible actress.
Yeah, I don't know. That's too. No, when it was just her. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, we really
Yeah.
want this person, so you just can't.
Well, why did they specifically want her?
Because she was
For the
very
role.
big at the time, coming off of MMA.
Yeah, well, like, I say that because that's what they said. Like,
Yeah.
Jon Favreau was like, I knew I wanted to work with her, and like
Because they just came up with
a character for
a
her.
character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cast, okay, they said cast another based wrestler. Cast AJ Styles as Cara Dune. How about that? That's a guy, but we could just have a guy play. That doesn't matter
That's
anymore.
insulting.
It's Hollywood. It doesn't matter anymore. Hollywood doesn't care. But he's got long hair, so it's fine. It's fine. All right, let's go. We got some super chats there, Mary.
It's Over 9,000 said, if there was going to be a sequel for White Men Can't Jump, it should have been made 2 or 3 years later with the original cast and be called Black Men Can't Swim.
Let's go,
Probably would have.
dude. And I bet you Wesley Snipes would have been incredible in that. I watched New Jack City recently. Holy crap, he's so good.
That was the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I remember a time where I was still like somewhat in the Matrix, and I was like, that tax evader, and now I'm like, based.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no. So like, I want to start like a wall of fame here of all the tax heroes in Hollywood. And
Craig T. Nelson.
yeah.
This is how I know you're a Fed.
I want Wesley Snipes up there. Is Craig T. Nelson a tax hero?
Yep.
That's the dude from Coach. Oh my gosh, let's go. We'll have Shakira up there, and I'll just put like maybe once a week I'll put a picture behind there. I'll go right behind Tom, and maybe we'll find out years later that Tom Cruise is a tax hero. And
Maybe
the
the Scientologist church is.
well, yeah. I mean,
Big write-off.
it's already
Yeah.
it's already exempt, right? Because it's a religion.
I thought that they made profit.
Do
Maybe
they?
it must.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Off the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bert
Tom Cruise
Fegg
show.
said, fine, how about this? Mary, you look fantastic in red. Well done.
There you go. That's very polite.
Okay. I'll just like become one of the CPAC girls that's like wears the sheath dress.
Red or blue, pick your dress. Like they go to like CPAC clothing store, and they basically it's just two racks, one red dress, one blue dress, and you just have to pick. Like which it's like one says Saturday, one says Sunday for the convention. Friday's like up in the air, like you can mix and match skirts
Okay.
on Fridays, but Saturday and Sunday you get either the red dress or the blue dress.
Hydronico said, I'm at the VA for rehab right now. I'm about 3 weeks sober. I'll be here for a few months.
Hey, dude, congratulations on taking that step. That is a huge journey, and I wish you the best. It's not easy, but it is unbelievably rewarding when you get through it. So stay strong, and it's not easy at first, but it's gonna get easier over time. Just lean on the people that you love and the people that care about you, and don't be afraid to ask for help as you're going. It's a process, man.
Someone said Mary is really James O'Keefe.
We did hire him.
I know that this isn't like particularly our realm, but maybe we can make it our realm because James O'Keefe loves show tunes. How do you feel about like they posted some video the other day where like they posted like some gotcha video from Project Veritas, and all the comments were like, "No, James, don't care." I'm like, are we really that much of a cult of personality now? I have no opinion. I don't even remember what it was about. But I'm like, if this is good work, it's good work, right? Like, I mean, they lost like all their donors. Like, it's like. And now we don't have James O'Keefe show tunes. And the fact that I'm not going to get to hear Oligarchy live anymore.
I mean, maybe you're going to get more.
Yeah.
James O'Keefe show
It's also
tunes.
really funny if like we find out that Project Veritas owns the rights to Oligarchy and they go in like a legal battle so he can get it back so he can perform it.
Yeah.
Like that would be great. Let's make a movie about that. Then maybe we can make a James O'Keefe movie. A documentary about James O'Keefe.
Yes. I'm on
Regatan
board.
said, for agencies, VTubers are scouted from audition.
Oh, okay. Are those the people we're seeing in those like crazy like Chinese like social media farms where it's like all the phones and everybody like lined up with like their one ring light?
Maybe.
Is that them?
1,000 Foot Deep End said, don't nix the red shirt, Brett. It looked so good. See, they think that both of us are.
It was
they look
wine,
good in
okay?
that.
It was wine. It was more of a burgundy.
A
If I'm
maroon.
being fair,
It was red.
It was like I said, and it was.
Don't kid yourself.
Problem is, it was like Target red too. It was like exactly the type of red shirt.
Yeah, if you
got.
worked at Target, that would be an acceptable color to wear.
And I worked there back when they didn't allow blue jeans. I was very upset when I found out that they started to allow blue jeans.
Was it just like any red shirt you can wear it?
Had to, yeah,
Literally
like
any
you had to
red
just
shirt?
buy a red shirt there, and
That's annoying.
there were
because
different shades of red too.
What shades were allowed? Like, how did they decide?
I
Was
think
it like
basically it was left up to the interpretation of whoever your shift manager was.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have shirt inspection. every
Yeah,
shift,
basically.
Shirt inspection. Bobcat said, has anyone ever seen Mary and James O'Keefe in the same room?
No. So
I
it
don't
could
think
be
so.
No.
you.
Right now.
When he was here?
No. No.
All right, guys. Oh, actually, I had one more thing I was going to show before we go. Did you know that apparently Mia Khalifa has a burner Twitter account that she uses to cyberbully haters?
That's funny because I have a burner Twitter account to look at me.
That makes perfect sense, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine? I better not see anything. Not that I follow her on social media strictly for research purposes, but I better not see anything about stop bullying campaigns or anything like that.
I doubt that she's very good at cyberbullying.
Think she's not that good at it.
I mean, she only has a burner account because if she did it on her main account, the ammunition against her is just self-evident.
So she's a coward too.
She can't win any online argument ever again.
Yeah.
Except anonymously.
Her burner account is anonymous, and they just found out that it was her.
No, she says they were talking
She's
about
hinted
her.
at it, but no one knows what it is.
Yeah. That she has her own. She literally says, "Yeah, I have a somebody said I know she has a Stan Twitter burner because she was like dancing to a Beyonce video or something, or no, to a Cardi B video."
Yeah.
And then it goes down, and she says, "I use it to cyberbully haters." I totally buy that too. Like that's the culture we're in
Yeah.
now. Like where people with lots of money and like a
She's
life
like 30. Like you don't need to.
who spend time on the internet like arguing with
Have
people
a
you
Stan
don't know.
account.
You don't need
I mean,
that.
that means it's a Stan account for herself.
No, it
even
was about
worse.
Cardi. Like the joke was like they're saying that she's got one for Cardi B, where she like just like talks about how much she loves Cardi B.
Well, maybe she's joking then.
Yeah, that I would hope so. I hope that somebody
Hopefully.
her age is not like just sitting there arguing with people on the internet constantly under a pseudonym. If you're gonna argue with people on the internet, at least do it under your own name.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's what you do, right?
That's what I do.
All right, Mary. I think we got one more there.
The Lonely Grape said O'Keefe was going to expose Big Avocado, but PV.
You mean the drug cartels?
Is that really how much money Big Avocado has that they can just buy off Project
I saw
Veritas?
this video today where it like the caption was like, these cartels are getting way too clever. So that someone like opens up an avocado and takes the pit out, and then the pit is filled with cocaine. And it's like a fake pit.
I love it.
I don't even know how they did it.
I love it. That's
Big Avocado.
My favorite was like the ones that are going to. It's under like a guy's got two pizza boxes and they open the top one and it opens up and it's hollowed out and under the top pizza is just a bunch of keys of cocaine and stuff like that. They're creative, man. They got many different ways to
I'm
do
impressed.
that. All right, Chris, man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
Go to timcast.com, click the read tab. You can check out all of our articles from myself, Hannah Claire, I know you guys like her. And all the other writers, find me on... oh, excuse me. Also follow Timcast News, at Timcast News, on Twitter, Instagram, and we just started a Facebook in the last week or two. I think it's Timcast Newsroom.
It's amazing that somebody's starting like any Facebook in the year 2023.
Dude,
It
it's
is
surprising. There's a lot of people. It's mainly boomers. But,
Yeah.
You know, they like to argue.
They loved it. Like it's
And spend money.
I quit Facebook in 2021, and it was like the best decision I ever made.
I kind of just like lurk on there. I don't really do anything anymore.
Yeah.
So
go follow you on Facebook. Go follow Timcast News on Facebook.
Timcast News on Facebook, and then you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ManofBert. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, Wesley, my friend, let everyone know. Can they find you somewhere?
Yeah. They've been finding me on the Instagram and Twitter. At Wesley Roth on Twitter, I believe, and at WARoth00 on Instagram. And you can also find me in this week's Cast Castle on timcast.com, and I highly recommend it.
Perfect.
You used to never shout out your social media.
That's why I stopped. I'm like, does he want to say anything for social media? Mary, where
Might
can they
as well
find
check.
you? Oh, there's one more super chat there.
Yes. You can find pictures of me on Instagram at Mary Archived and send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived. Potatoes for Seamus said, Mary hates me, Brett tolerates me, and Seamus likes. I don't hate you, Potatoes. Not at all.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you could hit the like button before you go, that would be fantastic. I would appreciate that greatly. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Share the video with your friends. That'd be great. And to hit the notification bell. I never do the notification bell part. You're supposed to tell people to click the notification bell so that you can get, push notifications every time we release a video or start a live stream. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Brett Dasovic. The show is here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you would like to listen to this show rather than watch, we're on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Pandora, and Spotify. And if you would like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twitter at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at popculturecrisis, and on Instagram at popculturecrisispod. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.